I don't know, I guess that's some tech issues. There's quite a lot of waiting time for both the spectators, the casters, and, of course, the viewers. Oh, the casters didn't want to start the game? That's actually true. I heard that, dude. Value was like, oh, I refuse to start until we get match replays. Alright.
Because we're underway. Would you look at that?
Would you look at that, dude? Hearing Parker and Kickstar's voice, we haven't in a while, because, you know, EU and A separation, all that. It's a bit sad. Also, I gotta change my camera position here. I'm gonna go down here. I'm gonna hide. Hibana ban on Clubhouse. Always spicy. We've seen this a bit as well in Europe. It makes basement a lot easier to defend. Maverick band as well. Probably gonna lead into a mirror ban, I imagine, on defense from either team. Leaving mirror open in the circumstance would not be very enjoyable. Even with the Thatcher open, that is. Good morning, brother. Good morning, Roy. How are you? Intero's holding them hostage. I've seen so many Wamai bans, and I don't know why. Especially on Clubhouse in Europe. I think BDS, I believe it's BDS, they banned Wamai a lot. I think Navi did it as well, like last season. I never really understood why. I guess it's just a fear of like stacking Jaeger plus Wamai or whatever, but... Or maybe you just want to enable like a Capital, or whichever the case might be. But I've never really seen the bigger reason as to why you'd want to approach it that way. And Maestro gets banned as well, no mirror. Spicy. So Thatcher's open, Ace is open, Thermite's open. You got Melusi open, if you so want. Because why isn't really played on gym or basement anyway? Like, it's exclusively played for Catwalk on server. I guess it might just be an indication that how many teams are actually going for a garage clear, as, you know, opposed to going for a split take where you go server breach into master bedroom side and breach to connect the wall. Because there's like 3 ways to attack CCTV, right? You can either go server breach and take catwalk. You can go straight master and then breach the server wall externally and have like both angles pinched. Or you can go server breach, ignore catwalk, and then go straight to master bedroom and then get the opposite pinch, so to speak. So there's like 3 ways to approach it. Basement gets started first, makes sense with the Hibana ban, I would say. I would say that with Hibana being banned, basement is the strongest bomb site, most likely. Also, with Thatcher being opened, it doesn't help server and it doesn't help gym. Whereas Thatcher on basement isn't really a big deal because you don't play kite unless Thatcher's banned, and you don't really play a whole lot of mute jammers either. You play impact tricks or bandit if anything. When you 6-pick, can the other team not see what you choose? No, that's what 6-picking does. So DG will see the 5 operators from SSG, and SSG will see the 5 defenders from Disrupt. And then each team has one 6-pick, which means that they can change one operator into something else that the opposing team can't see. So if we go back, right? I didn't actually see if any 6-pick did come through. I guess not. I guess not. But in this case, let's say that, you know, they're not showing the Thatcher, they're actually playing the IQ, then they 6-pick from IQ into Thatcher, then maybe DG would be like, oh guys, they have no Thatcher, let's 6-pick off, you know, let's say Aruna was on Valkyrie, let's 6-pick off the Valkyrie into a mute, because they have IQ and IQ counters Valkyrie, so you 6-pick off the Valkyrie into mute. But then SSG also 6-pick from IQ into Thatcher because they're expecting the mind game, right? That's what something that we see T2 do a lot on Consulate, where Uno will 6-pick off the IQ onto the Twitch. And then it's a countermeasure for like the Valkyrie and the Echo and whatnot. 6-picking is kind of underutilized by a lot of teams. In theory, you should 6-pick every single round, no matter what the circumstance is, just to keep the enemy team guessing. The thing about SSG's lineup is that they're probably going to play this exact lineup every single round. Or, if anything, they're going to make super tiny alterations to the lineup. So the 6-picking is mainly going to be on the defensive side here. Like the Goyo is a bit abnormal, at least in European meta game. Melusi and basement is a bit also like, it's not great, but it's not terrible. So you could easily 6-pick like onto like Bandit or Mute, or if you want to have more impacts on like a Lesion. If you don't see a Thatcher, you could 6-pick a Kite, of course. And that's kind of the defenders to make those mind games, right? If you keep 6-picking off, let's say, Valkyrie, then at some point, maybe SSG will be like, oh shit, maybe we should try and play an IQ, you know? Maybe they stick it this time. Those are the mind games you want to try and keep in mind. DG not showing any roam game presence whatsoever. They're just giving SSG the time up for free in about 25-30 seconds. So SSG will now just need to strategically pick apart the defense of Disrupt. You can go for a blue take, you can go for a church take, you can go for a kitchen hatch take. So there are 3 different ways to approach this execute. And all they have to work with is 2 thermite charges and 3 Selma charges. And that hard breach is what the entire attack will be based around. So keep trying off what they're breaching and you're generally gonna know what kind of attack they're going for. I will say though, with this exact lineup, they could actually breach basically everything. Like they could get kitchen hatch and breach church walls if they really wanted to. And then it's kind of a little bit more difficult to know where they're gonna be attacking from. Hero 5.
Hey, enjoy your day.
Thank you. Thank you, Hero. Vertical play gets contested, so Rambi gets killed. That's actually a big kill from Shuttle. Nice C4. Probably wanted the drone. Sledge is the only vertical play that SSG has, because they have no breaching charges except for an Ashe. So Ashe could take over and do a little bit more vertical if he wanted to, but you don't have a dedicated vertical player outside of the Sledge. You also lost your only set of nades, so now it's going to be more difficult to get rid of all the shields or the strong positions. You can see Fultz has 0 Ashe charges left, and we see a shield holding freeway, so it's going to be a bit tricky. They did get enough vertical play down, however, to actually assist the breach coming through, and there's no impacts left on the side of DG either. Illegal C4. These shields are going to be a bit of a cock in the ass, as we say. Thatcher can't do much here. They're going to have to do a forced kitchen hatch drop, probably trying to utilize the smoke grenades on Ace, and it's going to come down to a mixture of gunfights and just getting the right timings, right? Dropping this kitchen hatch is very, very difficult. You got 17 seconds left. You don't have much other choice than just YOLO down this hatch. So surely the smoke should be the sign of the execute, and here they come. And then the drop should happen. And that's the first gunfight won by Fultz. Gets traded back from Mark. And Fultz probably gonna go deep while the plan tries to go down. I assume they have the last guy staying above for vertical control. Actually, no. They're all stuck in back B, Hell in a Cell type scenario here. And that's never gonna work, right? So this is a bit messy, because where did J9 get these 3 kills from? Well, he pushed through, right? He pushed through the door for the last 2, and he got the first injure basically from church. And if thinking it has stayed back in the hallway, actually covering the angle that he gave up earlier, because he was down here in the beginning, then, you know, you deny the possibility of somebody sneaking up from Moto into like back B to make a hole or a rotate, and deny where smoke came from to get this triple kill. If you had a guy stay above on the kitchen hatch as well, if the bomb successfully goes down, that's kind of your win condition. Whereas all 3 players, if they stack together in back B like they did here, let's say the bomb goes down, who's gonna cover the bomb? Who's gonna win the round for the team, right? Like, they're all gonna get slaughtered. Like, they're literally all 3 touching. So if you had a guy above, you have less manpower below, but at least if the bomb goes down, you can win. Whereas right now, if the bomb went down, I don't personally see a way of winning regardless. You know, you have so many angles, you have no cover, you don't have any information, and J90 gets a triple off it. Melusi's pushed up at the same time. Like, pretty well played by DG. Again, imagine Rambi stayed alive or didn't get obliterated on vertical, had 2 nades spare. Those nades are exactly what you would need to use with those smoke grenade execute to get rid of really important player positions from Disrupt Gaming, and you might open up the round a bit better when you come to the execute. What you can also do, and this is something that almost no teams actually utilize, which is quite interesting, is this wall right here is soft, which means that you don't need to use the hatch. You can actually just, you know, open up the wall with, if you have a Bach, Ashe charge, Sophia charge. You can even sledge it if you're really ballsy, and you can actually have a different entry point than dropping the hatch with like stock momentum. Another thing you can do is actually, there's a pillar right here, kind of covered by the letters, see that Disrupt 1 or RW. And this pillar blocks the angle. You know, you can't get seen from dirt. You can't get seen from AKs, and you can't get seen from church. You can actually tuck into this corner right here if you open up the wall and go for a hallway plant. And then all you would need is one guy kitchen hatch holding, you know, this area, and one guy main stairs holding the hallway push and short push. And then you can actually start executing on this pillar. And that's something that is very underutilized by both Europe and North America, and probably also APEC at that time, but I haven't seen. But that's the hallway plant that you could go for. We also saw BDS plant here, which also gives you a bit more cover. But yeah, that's like your options to plant. Otherwise, there's always gonna be an angle open passively if those smoke grenades disappear. Do I play my keyboard sideways like that? No, I play with my keyboard like if this is a straight keyboard, like a normal guy, you know, pros they play like this, you know. I play like this, like super, like little bit slanted, like a tiny bit, and that's just for wrist comfort. Because if my keyboard is straight, then I'm bending my wrist slightly to the left. Whereas if I tilt my keyboard a little bit, now my wrist is straight and not bending towards the side. So I just tilted a tiny bit to get a more ergonomic position for my wrist. It is common for pro players to tilt their keyboards a bunch, like 90 degrees basically, because you have limited desk space. A lot of pros used to play with big keyboards, like TKL keyboards with numpads and shit, but it's becoming more and more common to get like, you know, 75 and 60% keyboards, which has a lot fewer keys, which means that the length is shorter, which means that you have more desk space overall. I know that Virtue, Jake on D2, he has like a really wide grip, so he'll literally play, you know, like this basically, like wide shoulder grip, whereas I play with my elbow touching my elbows touch my, like here. I play like this, he plays like this. And if you play with a wide grip and you have a big keyboard, you're gonna be hitting your teammate, right? Because you're all the way over here and you're all the way over here. Whereas if you play with a small keyboard and you play a narrow grip, like I do, you don't bother anyone. Like, you don't even need space. Like, you're good. And even though it is 2021, a lot of tournament organizers don't actually give you a whole lot of space. It's not uncommon for my mouse mat to touch my teammate's keyboard. Or maybe even sometimes my teammate's keyboard will be on my mouse mat. That, you know, that was a thing for most tournaments last year before COVID. Something that we did have happening recently is that they started giving us monitor stands, or like arms. So instead of having like a the platform stand on the desk, we have a monitor arm that is attached to the table that then reaches over and we can like maneuver the monitor around. That gives you a lot more freedom with your setup. And that's great. Mark playing reflex scope on Jaeger, dude. That should be a crime. We spoke earlier about the 3 different ways of attacking top floor and server attack. And we're seeing SSG go for the, I wouldn't say less conventional because it is done a lot. But with the Wamai ban, it kind of makes more sense to go, you know, for a catwalk attack, especially seeing as SSG themselves banned it, but they only have 1 native on Rampy, maybe that's why. But regardless, they're going to go for a pinch push, so they're going to be breaching the silver wall with the Thatcher, and then rotating straight over to master bedroom and taking that ground as well. So they're going to be opening up all the walls aside and then try and pinch out positions, and then again go for an execute, probably with the mixture of smoke grenades and nades. This is also where you could supplement like a buck, and then you can do a bunch of vertical play down from below and stuck. That is something that we've seen a lot in Europe before. Defending that spot is going to be even more challenging. Now, DG, they like their roam game. They're playing quite heavily down. I'm curious if my newest video on TikTok is the video that I think it is. One sec. There is an angle from basement that can assist this bomb site defense. I made a TikTok about it, but I don't know if it's released yet. It isn't. It isn't. Oh, I actually gotta record the intro for it. I forgot. That's why it's not out yet. Force finding another kill on Iconic. That is a C4 down. Very nice. This kill is going to be quite valuable for SSG as they're running low on time. The meta advantage is very much welcomed. And now it's all going to come down to another gunfight and as well as the execution coming in shortly. with the stun should also come out the push from the rest of the team. It's a bit delayed, but here it comes. J90 has to carry out this round big for his team, but he doesn't get shut down by Bosco. And Bosco's now deep on site with server control. And this bomb should go down pretty safely. And it does. You don't have a whole lot of win conditions in this circumstance. You lost the C4. You don't have vertical. Smoke got taken down as well. All you got left are gunfights. Mark losing the gunfight, holding server breach, opens up everything, because then the guys that are in red, which was the smoke, they have to look away from the execute and hold their own flanks. So Iconic and Mark being the exterior on that defense, them falling early, is costful for them. Why didn't the Melusi peek like that? I mean, you kind of have to peek in this circumstance, right? If you look at it. If we go back. So Mark is just holding an angle. He's simply just holding an angle on towards the server breach. If you're really cheesy, you probably crouch here and you make a bullet hole. And then, like, you probably win the round, right? Or you kill Fools at least. And then once this happens, you're playing 3 versus 5. You need to peek and kill Fools. Fools is probably called low on health. He got shot by Mark. It's a good gun. So the swing comes through. Right? Just a drop shot shenanigans here. And now the round is opened a little bit more up for Disrupt Gaming. If Fools doesn't get killed, you have 3 guys stuck in this hallway who have 1 guy holding them this way and 1, 2, 3 guys holding them this way. You don't have any ground to work with, right? So you're going to be lashing out onto Fools. He's like the single target. He has no refrag. He has no teammate backup. He has nothing, right? He has a guy in the window, but there's not a whole lot of crossfire there. So they lash out. They try and even back the man count. This is a great play. This has to happen. After that, J90 even pre-fires the 51 window, knowing there might be a threat there. If he had gotten that kill as well, this round could look very differently, right? And now, DG is still in a decent positions, but they have no smoke grenades left. They have no C4s left. J90 has 2 impact grenades, which can't do much from this position. Shuttle's not even on the side, actually. He went down below. So, again, it's just going to be a bit messy. Again, if J90 gets this kill, it opens up the round. Because he didn't, you don't get much from it. Something to note, Luke was actually planting deep in cash. And that is actually an area. I'm fat-fingering all kinds of buttons here. It's actually an angle that you can see as J90 if you look to your right and you use those impact grenades. But they don't have any information. There's no Valkyrie, there's no Maestro, there's not a single bulletproof camera, I don't imagine. Mark could have had one, he did. Where did it go? I don't know. But I don't see it here, which is like a common spot. It could be in catwalk for himself, perhaps. Regardless, they didn't know where they were planting, so they couldn't do much with it. If they had known, then J90 was in a great position to utilize that information. But unfortunately, they didn't. And you see 2 guys stuck on red stairs with crossfires. You just don't have any ground to work with. The hype? Is that Ramby getting? No, it's not Ramby getting hyped. No mind. It's Luke, dude. Let's go! It's also why the Maestro ban is kind of big. And it's also kind of why it's a bit surprising not to see a Valkyrie yet. Because you don't have any information outside of, you know, a single bulletproof camera. And you got 3 different things that you can choose to watch with that camera. I don't think this Melusi pick is working out very well. I don't know, it's to try and force out the explosive economy, but I don't know. If you're playing Melusi, like when you're playing Basement, maybe playing Melusi and Goyo so that you have more than 5 different explosive required objectives. So you got 3 Banshees and 2 shields and a shield on smoke. That could work. But right now, for example, you're only playing a single shield. And then you're playing the Banshees. They can clear all those, like 4 if they wanted to. 2 nades, 2 Sophias, they're done, right? I don't know. Usually, how I see Melusi is that you pick her to cause a stir up in the attacker's lineup utility. Because they will need to choose what to destroy, and they can't destroy everything. Valkyrie comes out, beautiful. We love to see it. It did take 3 rounds, but we did get there. What I think the reason is for being so many clubhouse games across any NEU, it's a good map. Most maps aren't good. Shelly is... I haven't played it professionally, so I can't comment much, but It seems like a very average map. It reminds me a bit of Coastline actually. Like rotations are a bit iffy. It's attacker sided and it's a bit more frag heavy by the looks of it, and map control heavy. Clubhouse is all about strategy, teamwork, synergy, etc. But it's also really fucking boring because every team is doing, 90% the same execute. Here comes a Sophia stun with a thermocharge and an EMP. This means that the bandit can't trick even if he wanted to. Then that wall will get opened. Now they can choose to then use the Thatcher and the Ace charges to get breach bathroom. Or they can start taking below and work up the main stairs. Or they can go over to server side and then work on the server side of things. There's two ways to attack this. Either you do below up, you go hatch office drop down, or you go straight bathroom with main stairs. So now DG has to talk about as a team. Okay, guys, they breach the Jacuzzi first. Okay. Are they coming server? Okay, they're not. Well, that means that they're gonna go for a quote-unquote straight take. What can we now do to hinder them from succeeding? Well, first of all, you probably should open up this wall above and get your impact grenade operator, Mark in this case, or Vigil, to play bathroom with the bandit. Bandit can trick some of the Selma charges, but if he gets naded out and whatnot, you want to have the impacts to answer back, and maybe combine maybe all 4 impacts if you really wanted to deny that wall, guaranteed. Because the bandit's not going to get anything here. It takes 1 nade above that wall, and bandit's rendered useless. So there needs to be now like what are we going to do, boys? If you just sit down and wait, you should lose out in this round unless gunfights go in your favor. Like say J90 hit a crazy 1-tap there, like that would be great. But strategically speaking, you need to have a win condition. They are going below. They do have a bit of vertical in Sophia and they have 2 nades as well. So they can basically get rid of the bandit trick from below if they wanted to. There is a vertical for it. Now J90 gets taken down as the Valkyrie off the board. And I'm gonna assume that Valkyrie somehow swung Bosco because Bosco is deep out on the breach. So J90 should never die in the circumstance unless he got wall banged through this dresser, which I doubt is what happened. Mark gets a double to enter back. Very nice. I assume he just flanked down the 2 players in bar. We have 3 guys from SSG on this balcony, so it's hard to say that nobody was on a camera holding that flank. Could be timing. But that's the true fact that DG needed to open up this round back for them. Say Mark hadn't successfully done it, this would be a much different story. As you can see here, you can't bandit trick a Selma or an Ace. If you slap an EMP and then Selma left and right wall, you can only bandit trick one of them. So this is where you want the impacts. You could have impact tricked this second Selma charge, and then you'd have to throw the first Selma charge at the very floor, but then you can use that floor hold to further impact trick the next one. So this is where the lack of impacts come in. Shati's doing a 24-hour stream today. Oh god, Shati's a mad lad. I don't know how you can do Siege 24 hours straight in the current season. A lot of my Siege friends are on a pause right now, not really playing the game. DG now on the back foot, pretty much stuck in corners, most of them. SSG has to find 1 before the execute comes out. They are at a man deficit at the minute, and there it is. Even back out to 3 versus 3. Flashbang, entry combo, smoke comes out to enable the plant. Bosco also finds Mark, beautiful. And all of a sudden, SSG in a great position to set up an execute and a plant, and the post plant can be held from the window, but Iconic with the flank says no. And I'm a bit curious if this was the lack of Thatcher holding the wrong angle or not. It does look like Thatcher's actually holding server window here. It looks like Thatcher's holding like the server window, master window, and connector window jump out. And the one angle that's open for them right now is the flank on what would be the Jacuzzi breach, which is what Iconic capitalizes on. And he both kills the Planter and Bosco, who's deep on site, leaving Thinking Nate in a 1v2. In this circumstance, if the plant goes down, you're probably better off guaranteeing the bomb goes down as Thinking Nate, holding that hallway. Because if Thinking Nate dies, I mean, sure, no one's in the window anymore, but as long as the bomb goes down, at least you have that chance of 2v3 clutching on the rest of the squad. Whereas if you're holding your own jump out, fearing that you might die, and the bomb doesn't go down, well, now you gotta jump into the window in a 1v2, and there's like very few seconds left on the clock, right? And it's well said. I actually think the game itself is in a pretty good state compared to other seasons. Just the match canceling cheating. No, for sure. I mean, the game itself is fine right now. It's not like it's crazy buggy outside of the norm. It's not like it's crazy bad with like new operators being super like oppressive. It's just a matter of when you're a high elo player like myself, you only face match cancelers, cheaters, or stream snipers, which means people like myself, I need to play with a 45-30 second delay to even play the game, and even then I might still face cheaters and match cancelers, and I need a 5-stack 4 other friends to suffer with me because solo queuing isn't really a thing in high elo. And that's kind of rough, right? That's really rough. That's like the issues that I see. I can't just boot up Siege at like, 8 a.m. and just solo queue and have a good time. If I solo queue, I'm gonna lose my mind probably, especially because I'm in Europe. No one speaks English here. In North America, they speak English. They're just toxic, but that's like the entire world is, so no big deal there. If I ever got to America, I'll probably do like a solo queue thing every season. I have a second account to solo queue on, so I'm not dependent on having friends online. Because that sucks. I hate being reliant on other people to play the game. Falcon said I can barely play casual and have fun. Yeah, I mean, we had that unranked stream 2 or 3 days ago. That was really fun. Like, we're just messing around, like LMG strats, like it was unranked against, plat players and whatnot. We're having fun. No match cancelers, no cheaters, like no stream. There were some stream snipers, but not many. It was a really good stream. It was a really good time. But even unranked and quick match are very, very sweaty. Played some Rainbow's Magic. That was interesting. I know it's not economically smart for you to play off stream, but would I play off stream to have fun with friends? I honestly might, in the future, play Siege off stream and just record the games and then upload to YouTube. If match canceling and cheating doesn't get resolved anytime soon, then that's probably what I'm gonna start doing, where once or twice a week, instead of streaming ranked, I'll be playing ranked off stream with like a dev stack, and I'll be uploading like the highlights of those games to YouTube, right? So yeah, that might be possible. There might be a way around it. Why do some teams continue to play the 20-second meta with Goyo, Omai, etc.? I don't know. It might just be a preference of theirs, or maybe they have scrimmed the opponent and they know they struggle to deal with those, objectives. It could also just be that they like that playstyle, I don't personally see a very big strength in playing Goyo Omai on most maps, but I do think that there are certain maps, like Cafe, for example, where it could be quite good. A very narrow map with limited mobility. I wouldn't advise it for like, Coastline. I wouldn't advise it for Clubhouse. I wouldn't advise it for Consulate even. Because attackers have so many different ways to deal with things, both vertically and horizontally. Whereas the map like Cafe, it's a very, very narrow map for both attackers and defenders. So having shields to really get people stuck in positions, it's really great for defenders. And it's really difficult and frustrating as an attacker. Shuttle could have gotten some crazy value there. Unfortunately, only gets 2 injuries. Good value nonetheless. Bosco ramping a 2vx, 2v1. It looks great, dude. 1v4, but it's basically, if you combine the health of both Bosco and Rampy, you're looking at like a third of a man against Mark, who's also like less than 1/4 of his health. Like, even if you combine Mark, Bosco, and Rampy's health here, there's not even one full health player on the server right now. Like, that's a single bullet going the wrong direction there, and that's a GG. Very close round. You see what SGC did here, actually, is that they used the Selma charges at the very bottom. And that's again to deny the impact trick and whatnot. They really didn't get answered back with the impacts. Like Mark, he has 2 left when this breach is open. I still think that Disrupt is having a strategical weakness in decision making, where if they're going to be going for a church attack, you need to bring over the impact so that you can at least make this less good for SSG, right? Once that first Selma charge goes down, if it's put here in this radius, you can impact trick it. If it's put down here, then you let the first hole open up, and then you use that hole to impact trick through to get the next charge, right? And that way you can effectively deny 2 Selma charges, and Ace only has 3 when he has max. So if DG had run some more disruption, to their attack, maybe they would have been in a better position. But they didn't.
Well, things maybe started to look a little grim for Space Station.
Back B got utilized quite well. The lack of vertical play from SSG, maybe a step missed. Ideally, if you have the Sledge or you got Breaching Charge on Ash, which they have both, you want to make a little bit of holes maybe here or here, just to make this position less playable for someone like Shuttle if this wall is soft. If this wall is reinforced, which it is, I'm gonna say half the time, you don't need to worry about this angle whatsoever. But if this wall is soft, you need to realize and recognize that this back B position can get utilized against you, meaning that you need to have some sort of presence vertically to deny that. They had time left to do it. They had 35 seconds left, 36 seconds as the execute came through. So they could have easily bonked a hole and then that would have been done. And that makes a difference. Makes a good difference.
50 seconds left. SSG still has utility.
Who's Disrupt Gaming's IGL? I would imagine it's Retro. If you look at the lineup, I think it's Retro. Or maybe I would say it's probably a mixture of Retro and Mark, but I could be completely wrong. I don't think J90, you know, being new, Iconic's role. Shuttle is probably like a semi-IGL. Like he plays like the flex middle ground. But I would say it's on this side of the game, if I had to guess. A Retro is? Okay. Because Mark has experience, Retro has experience, Shuttle does, but Shuttle doesn't strike me as a vocal guy. I mean, I met him at a workshop 2 years ago and he didn't speak much at all. Usually if you're talkative outside the game, you're talkative in the game. Like Fabian, Troy, myself, you know, like we're IGLs. Uno doesn't speak much for content, but Uno speaks a lot like otherwise. So I believe on SSG I read a tweet from Lycan. I'm gonna pull it up on stream in a second. He answered the IGLing situation for SSG. IGL by committee, macro led by Foltz, mentored by Bosco. So IGL by committee, I imagine, is that you're IGLing as a team. And that's what D2 also does, where you need, you know, if you have 5 set of eyes, then all those 5 people, they can help create the picture. But you need the macro to be led by a single or maybe 2 people. So it's macro led by Foltz and then mentored by Bosco, right? And this kind of makes sense. And this is pretty much what D2 also does. Like we IGL by committee, we have a macro player. That was Uno and myself. Now it's Kayak and Uno, I imagine. And then we don't really have a mentor because like we have very seasoned players in that regard. But yeah. What does IGL mean? In-game leader. So the guy who calls the shots, you know? When this round starts as SSG, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna put master bedroom cam. And then thinking it's gonna say, I'm gonna put Garrett's cam. And then when the round starts, they're gonna say, okay, no roamers on Garrett's side. Bosco's gonna say, no roamers master side. Then the IGL of Foltz, who's macro calling, will say, all right, guys, no roamers top floor. Let's take the map fast. Ramby going strip, follow Luke's drone. I'm gonna go in Garrett / Blue and use Bosco's drone, thinking that you can start approaching the building, right? Then you're like, this guy has an objective, this guy's an objective, this guy's gonna be joining for this guy. So everyone has something to do. Then when the round starts, then you're gonna have Luke drone down the main stairs. He's gonna say, yo guys, back B is soft. Then Folt's gonna go, all right guys, back B is soft. That means we're gonna go for a kitchen execute with main stairs control. We also gotta open up Moto. And then we're gonna say, okay, Luke, you get Moto, Bosco get the kitchen hatch, then have a spare for my charge for dirt late round if we need. Right, that's like how you want to be doing the IGLing basically. You have all these like checklists, like what's important. Are there any impact holes? Is this wall soft or hard? Is dirt reinforced? And if it is it mute jam, bandit trick, kite charged? Church wall, is there any holes above impact trick? Okay, are they playing bandit, mute or kite? Okay, how many impacts do they have? 2 or 4? All those small things you go through in a list in your head, and then you try and create the best strategy for the scenario that you're faced with, right? What I would do in this scenario, without analyzing too much, I personally, if I was attacking, would have the flank drones and call for a roam clear. I would go for a hallway plant here with kitchen hatch, moto hatch open, and dirt open. That's what I would do. Just like looking at this super briefly. The hallway plant is great like we saw the first round. We know they don't impact trick very effectively because now it's round 5. Dirt is not something that they hold with big priority. There's no utility in here, so go for that as well. And of course, you need moto hatch open just to get pressure into church. Right? That's what I would do. Which means that Luke will get Moto hatch, and then he'll get his spare onto third. That means that we have 3 Selmas to try and get the kitchen hatch opened with. And we're going to be using the 3 Selma charges first. In case they fail, then we're going to use the spare thermal charge from dirt and put that onto the kitchen hatch instead, because kitchen hatch is the priority. So we're not going to breach we're not going to breach dirt until kitchen hatch is open, in case we need that thermal charge for the kitchen hatch instead. So it's all of those small things you got to keep track of. How many EMPs do we have? How many ash charges? How many shields do they have? Where are they? You know? So it's all those things.
Even though it was a loss, DG still hanging tough in these rounds. Once again, not giving many opportunities for teams to punish their mistakes.
Trying to find a program to draw on VODs. I'm using Epic Pen. It looks like this. I can press Control 1 that I can draw. Control 3 deletes it. And Control 5 gives me back my crosshair. Or my mouse cursor, rather. It's a crosshair. How do you explain all that in 45 seconds in prep phase? It's very easy. Everyone knows the strats. So I can say, guys, kitchen execute. Everyone knows what that means. I'll say, guys, hallway plant. They know what that means. I'll say, guys, church execute with blue take. So we have like strat names. Like when you're playing basement, you can say basement turtle. A turtle, it has a shell. It can hide in it. So a turtle strat is 5 guys on site. How many guys on site? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a turtle strat. They're playing passively, safely on site. Right? I can also say, guys, go for a roam strat basement or SSG roam basement. If I say SSG roam basement, we're going to play Mute Mossy. Going to be reinforcing the server walls and the jacuzzi walls. We're going to be jamming and Mossy spidering, you know, the entry points. And we're going to play for a time stall, mainly playing towards falling back on the server side of things. I can also say go for a loose roam. Loose roam is, you know, 1 guy main stairs, 1 guy blue stairs. Try and kill some drones, see what we can get. Maybe if you get good time, you can rob the staircase on the high top floor. So you have all these keywords to work with, and the IGL will say which strat to do, but everyone else knows what that means, right? Thank you, R Gaming Central, for the 52 months. Absolutely big, absolutely massive. Thank you, sir. So the IGL is not like the all-seeing god. He's just the guy that gets to get the final say. Everyone else should be able to IGL in theory, but one guy is obviously gonna be a lot better at it than the rest of the guys in the squad. Like Kanto could IGL on D2. Would he be better than me, Kayak, or Uno? No, but he could do it. He just would maybe also lose a lot of personal performance trying to. For some people, it's hard to talk while thinking while also playing and shooting people. Kenzo's more of a gunner than a brainer. So Kenzo is not only better at shooting than I am, but he's also worse at talking while shooting than I am. So if he gets to do the shooting, and I can do the talking and average shooting, then we're both winning, right? We're both doing really good. And that's why Kenzo's not an IGL and I am. But that's why Kenzo's insane and I'm average. So, yeah. How can you memorize all the strats? It's just practice. I mean, I've played Siege 12 hours a day for 5 years straight on the same maps for 6 years. Like, they haven't changed much. I mean, sure, this map got a slight rework years ago. And that's why when the map is new, people are bad at playing it because you haven't theorized the outcomes yet. Also, I'm not sure why they're using 2 EMPs for the hatch. Because they've done it 2 rounds in a row. You don't need to use 2 thatchers. They're doing it in case of a kite trick, I imagine. But you don't need to use 2 EMPs as a thermite. Only as Hibana or Ace. And they keep thermiting with 2 EMPs. And it doesn't make any sense. Whatever. They're just confusing. You should only use 1. That's like the... Maybe they just don't need a third. They're like, fuck it, dude. What if? But yeah. You can drone it, you can nade it, you can play sound on it, and even if you don't, you only need 1 EMP because of the timing between the activation of a kite claw versus the activation timing of a thermite charge. Don't need 2 EMPs. Also, they're not playing kite, but they don't know that. They're just playing it safe. It's better to EMP it and there's no kite than it is to not EMP it and get kite tricked, because then the round is lost from an attacking point of view. Ideally, you can just drone it if you're curious. I would say a drone has less value than an EMP in this attack. Then again, probably not actually. Not the way that DG's playing it. You don't really need EMPs for anything here, to be fair. The thermite shot explodes fast and the kite claw activates? Yeah, exactly. But you can trigger it in moto. So, but still, despite that, 1 EMP is enough if you pre-place. Here's a C4 I saw in the picture. Oh! Almost gets 3. That is the nades off the board, and it's the smokes off the board. Now, this is a round 1 from DG, just like that, of a single C4. No smokes, no nades, no ash charges left. All you got are 3 flashbangs and 3 breaching charges to win this round as SSG. You should have no way to win this round whatsoever unless Disrupt absolutely throws it out the window.
Down goes Bosco. These were your heroes of the previous round for Space Station, and it's all for naught on this one. It also gives Disrupt a 5v3.
Yeah, I saw the TSM game live, Jinsu, but I'm not gonna watch it on stream. It was a shit game. TSM played pretty average. Exit played terribly. I know that Exit has some PC issues. They hadn't scrimmed for like 3 days, and they had some personal stuff going on with the players. So, yeah. This should not be allowed by Folds, by the way. Ever. If you have 5 guys, look at the positions. I mean, is dirt even open? Maybe. Maybe it is. But I don't think it is, right? Because they thermited motor and they thermited kitchenettes, right? So they can't open dirt. Maybe they did. I don't know. I feel like it shouldn't be possible. Anyway, the only vulnerable area of this entire map is kitchenette and then this hallway and then motor door. No one's watching the hallway. There's no valve camps. There's nothing. There's a bulletproof somewhere, but it's dead. Smoke gets shut down. No one's really holding anything. Thinking it gets a second turn to iconic. Now we're in church. We have control. The stream is frozen. Oh no. I'm curious where Luke is and all this is thinking is Morodor. Falls on side. If Luke was in a good position, that's a plan right there. That's a 1 round. And it looks like we're getting a rehost? No, the round score got a what? A disrupt 1. Okay. Not a rehost. Just a feed that died. I'm gonna imagine that Folds got shoved and the player playing AKs and then thinking Nate probably died to the guy in blue and then Luke was 1v2 or 1v3 and then he will, I don't know. Regardless, DG brought it back, but that was way too close. Way too close.
Mismanagement of utility from SSG. They don't have any other options for hard breach, by the way. Hibana and Maverick being banned means that hatch play is going to be a nightmare for the attacking team. Because you're going to have to rely on either an exothermic charge, of which Thermite only has 2.
Best thing to do if you have a man advantage on defense, depends on the map. If you're playing basement on Clubhouse, if you have a man advantage and you're in a stable position, playing passive and playing smart is your best bet. If you can play refrag, so you trade one of your guys for one of their guys, well, if you have 5 versus 4, then you're gonna get 4v3, 3v2, 2v1, and then 1 versus 0. As long as you trade 1 for 1, you win the round every single time. So whenever you have the advantage, if you can play for refrag ability and not, you know, peek desperately and take 1 versus 1 gunfights because you shouldn't, you're in a good spot. However, let's say you're playing 4 versus 5 on defense, you need to either have a strategical win condition, such as like C4s or smoke grenades, a vertical play that you know will win you the round, or B, need to get a kill somewhere or 2 kills somewhere and lash out. And that's where like the aggression comes from. Arguably it's over aggression, but it's required to try and even back the man score. Otherwise you're probably gonna get run over anyway. It's very map dependent, very bomb site dependent, and very situational. When I get EMP, Sophia stun. Oh, actually nade, very nice. It did nade that the previous round as well. I was expecting Sophia stuns to be taken care of this time to change things up. If you can make the nade work there, it has the highest value because you can get a kill from it. Also has a high risk of getting shut down from either window peaks or just that bandit swinging back. Ever get a casting job? I don't think so anytime soon. One, I would not be a caster. I would be an analyst, like Soronic, for example, or on the desk. Casting is something that requires actual skill and training. Whereas analyst work is, you know, just brain power. You just need to know how to explain things or just know what to look for at least. Neither of which I'm great at. But no one's really doing this, so I thought I might as well be one of the guys to start. Maybe some other people can take over, you know. Thank you, Stency. 4v5, so I just spoke about. DG now needs either A, a solid win condition, or 2 to get some kills. And if you look at the lineup, they have 1 C4 and 3 smoke grenades as a win condition to deny the bomb plant, which can work because there's only a minute and 6 seconds left, right? But they're gonna be ending up playing 3v5 or 3v4 because Mark is gonna die if they go for a catwalk take unless Mark somehow wins the round single-handedly. But he's also gonna waste time. So as long as they can hold on to catwalk until like 35-second mark, they could play the win condition of plant deny with a mixture of vertical on J90, smoke grenades on retro, and C4 on iconic. But SSG isn't going for the catwalk, by the way. Actually, JK, take it back. They are. I thought they're going to be rotating around, and they still might be, because there's no nades left on Rampy. They might just try and leverage the man advantage here and go crazy on like window jump-ins and connector and server breach. Mark is stuck on catwalk, can't do much, thinking it will keep him busy. 20 seconds left. Catwalk's still alive. They can flash and push up, but that's the only thing they really can do. It's all gonna come down to gunfights. Mark has found one, and he finds 2 diffuser in catwalk, so Mark can now chill down, so can the rest of DG. In this circumstance, not sure that's intentional or not, but I don't know what that was, but Mark is better off just hiding alongside this ledge and not even take the risk of dying here. He was aiming his teammates, so I don't know what happened there. But yeah, Mark could just hide with diffuser, 6 seconds left. In this scenario, Retro and Mr. J90 just get the fuck out. They can't plan on time. Should be communicated. Oh, but look at the position from DG. They're not playing for time. They're playing for kills. Hello? Retro's playing really far, and Red actually moving forward. I haven't touched them. I haven't touched them. We haven't bought hippos in like weeks, Bobby. They are where you left them. I put them on the counter in the kitchen on the left hand side. Have you checked? Can you check? I checked. Look, how do you lose that? Yeah, of course, because like, how do you lose this? Either Mark didn't see the diffuser being down, which was very obvious, by the way. Like normally, sometimes you're like, was that diffuser or not? I don't know. But look at this. That's the diffuser. Okay. Now maybe it's Clan that it's smoke. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, you killed Thermite. You can even assume that it's diffuser, right? Anyway, they fucked up massively here, right? Like this guy is moving forward instead of moving backwards. J90 is stuck in this corner the entire round. I don't know. I have no explanation for this round. But the misplays were definitely real. Just let alone the fact that Mark dies from outside the zero breach with catwalk control. That's like the biggest fault there, because as long as you have garage control, even if they did have diffuser on zero breach, you have crossfire. But the second Mark dies, you give up the crossfire and the trade ability, and you give up like that major key position that Mark had enabled for himself, even getting 2 kills. Like, it was a really bad execute from SSG. They failed the flashes, they failed the execute, they failed the nades. They were way too low on time for comfort there, and they still win because DG failed to capitalize on it correctly. And that was a pretty poor execute from both teams. It's not even like Catwalk was flashed when they pushed him. He wasn't even like the flash like ran out and he gained vision, and the guy he killed barely made it inside the door. The second that first flash comes out, you go zoom into garage and up the staircase. Because once he can see again, you die. I want to bang my head on my desk from these Val games. Are you guys losing, Vero? Are you guys boosted or what? I thought you guys are winning. Now we see the SSG lineup here. I'm not sure what that's about. Is there gonna be a shield here to enforce the soft wall, or are we just trolling, or are we gonna reinforce it? I don't know. Spicy, spicy. Well, last game was not good. Smurfs. We hate Smurfs. I mean, you guys are in like what, silver, gold? So you guys are getting a hard Smurfed on. It's not like you're a high elo one, like you're facing like semi-high people, you know. And even just attack church dead on while controlling either blue or kitchen hatch and not even commit to a full drop. There's plenty that DG can do. So this is like the loose SSG roam, where you just like you probably don't even fully commit without the castle. Actually, they're replacing the castle barricades with the normal barricade. Maybe they are. Could also be why the walls are soft in church. That's the wall they had to sacrifice to make this setup happen. Usually SSG will play this in a fashion where they start in master and connector, as you see here, or in office, and then they fall back towards server side when things get hot, and that's what you see instantaneously here. And then they play towards server, and then can further fall back via garage and blue stairs if they so wanted to. And the main objective is just to waste time. You know, they already used one Thermite charge, they already used... well, Thatch is dead. I was gonna check his EMP count. Yeah, they used one EMP and they used one Thermite charge. And they even lost Thatcher right after. You don't need to EMP this wall, because you can kill it from the gym window, but they did. Again, without the kite being played, the EMPs aren't super valuable. With this kill on Thatcher and the mana advantage, I would love if Fult's hidden strip and the rest of the SSG just fell back and played super passive. Because they're going to spend so much time droning the rest of the top floor. They're going to spend so much time droning like strip if they were to come forward. Mark is now alone on Garrett's side. They have info for it. They have a cat call in the C4 with a drone. That's very, very nice. Bonk. Yep, there it is. Beautiful. So that's a prepped C4. We call it cat or dog. So you'll put, you know, one C4 on a wall and you call it C or cat. And then somebody will hold the cam. When they say cat, that means that you explode the C4. Say you have two C4s and you call the second one D or dog. So you can go dog is this C4 and cat is this C4. So you can have two pre-placed C4s with two different guys on cameras, or the same guy even. And then you can say cat or dog, and then that way you can just like determine who's gonna blow the C4. And beautiful kill onto Mark. Mark was very deep and very isolated, but still it was a nice kill. I love seeing that kind of kill rather than just like a straight up gunfight, you know. DG really contesting the roam game here, just running it down into the server. Like, fuck it, we lost two guys already. Let's just force send it through. Let's say they killed Thinking It here. I mean, they got a minute and 12 seconds left. They don't have strip control, don't have bar control, don't have garage control. They haven't breached anything besides the gym wall. They're in a really, really bad position. And that's why this roam game is so effective, because at the very least, you're gonna waste a bunch of time. At the very best, you're gonna be 5 versus 1. So, yeah. Or 5v0 flawless round on a top level roam game. Not something that we see very often. I think Luke is loving it, dude. He's like, I'm not even a fucking player, dude. And these guys are getting owned. He's even jerking something there. It's the hand warmers that they get. Always looks interesting on camera. Usually the hand warmers that we get are... They're called like Pengu and something. And it's like a picture of Pengu. Like the cartoon character. And you shake them and, you know, you expose them to air, I guess. Or molecules in the air, and they get warm. But you gotta shake him. So you grab them because it's a sandbag, and you do this, right? To get them swinging in the air. Once at the DreamHack Winter, I think it was, in Sweden, so Jönköping, Kento was slapping it on the desk. Maybe it was Valencia. I don't know. It was one or the other. And Kento fucking ripped the thing. And it's these like super small like black seeds. Or it's black like circles, balls. And it went everywhere on my keyboard, on my mouse mat, like inside my fucking like my hair. It was so bad. He was slapping it on the desk, and as he slapped it down and dragged it up, it ripped. And it went phew. It's terrible. Giant Pengu hand warmer. They're not giant, but yeah. They're essentially filled with rust. Interesting. I don't know what it is. That's interesting. I have a question. Pro players on match seen that they're using some HyperX headphones and also an earphone. Yeah, so the headphones are to cancel out noise. So you're wearing that here. That is so that you can't hear the outside world very well. And then furthermore, you also have an in-ear that goes below inside the ear cup to provide you with the game sound. And it further blocks the audio from outside and provides you with game sound. The headset doesn't provide any sound at all. The headset provides you a microphone to communicate, and it blocks sound. So because you need audio to play the game and hear your teammates, you want to have the earpiece in as well. Otherwise, if you don't have this, because it is an arena. It's meant to be having, you know, it has a full production. It's meant to have fans. The players would hear the caster. You know, then SSG's like, oh, and DG going for a grenade onto Bandit tricking. And then SSG's like, oh, Bandit, can you move? He's going to nade you soon, you know, like, because it's live. So because you're in a studio where you also hear the casters, you're going to have to use that. Or you can have a soundproof box, like a big glass cage. This is something that they use for big events for Dota, League of Legends, and CSGO. I think the International 2020 or 2019 maybe even, they had it. Let me see here. Red Bull documentary Dota. It's in this one. You see here? So they're sitting with no protection on the ears inside this soundproof glass box. So, you know, they can't hear a thing. And that's like the best scenario in the world. Or some COD events too, I'm being told. Nice. It's very expensive and it requires a lot of like space, right? But it's like the best thing you can do for quality production, you know? So each team has a big glass cage and you can see the players and they can talk to each other without hearing any of the crowds or any member of the crowd. It's super sick. They just sit there in their box and they can have like a normal conversation with a bunch of fans around them, you know? And there's no, like, you can use like your own normal headset. You can play with like super comfortable, you know, studio headphones if you wanted to. Yeah, but also it takes a bit of way of like the LAN feeling, because you don't feel or hear the crowd the same way. I'm sure they feel them, like the bass in the floor or whichever, but they don't hear them the same way. They don't feel them the same way. So it kind of also takes away a little bit of the it adds distance between the crowd and the audience and the players. And that kind of sucks in a way. But it is taking a bit for competitive integrity and comfort. Have I played League before? Yeah, I tried to go pro in League. That's my... I actually come from League of Legends. Tried to go pro for a few years and then ended up in Siege instead.
Likely see them forego a sledge as well if SSG prevails here, or if they lose and we still see a gym defense.
No Bandit being bronze, not even gonna contest the Bandit triggering. I would say that's smart. With Thatcher being open, playing a Bandit, the wall is gonna get opened regardless. There's like 20. You can Sophia stun the drone with an EMP, do vertical, do the nade. Like that this breach will never be kept closed. So you might as well just not bring the Bandit. I respect it. They still bring a mute to force out the EMP or the vertical play. I respect that as well. The Bandit is kind of overrated. And as we saw on DG, I mean, Shuttle died twice trying to protect that breach. It just doesn't work. Do I think Luke will get dropped soon? I don't think Luke will get dropped until after Invitationals. I think Invitationals is the test for SSG. And if Luke does well, or if the team just functions well with Luke, I imagine that he stays. But if Luke is not getting up to speed, or just not quote-unquote good enough, I'm sure he'll get dropped. But I'm pretty sure that Invitationals and this Pro League season will be the benchmark for him. And I think that's fair. I absolutely think it's fair. Luke doing as good as he has so far is... I mean, I'm saying that he's 0-4, but... Let's not look at the scoreboard too much. He's putting in good work, and he's taken over Troy's role as a hard support. So, and that's kind of what SSD needs. If anything, the only thing that might lead to Luke getting kicked is actually just that Foltz being an IGL, or the you know, losing Troy's on IGL might just lead them to maybe try and find a new IGL, because either A, Foltz doesn't like doing it, or Foltz isn't good enough at it, or maybe he feels like his personal performance gets tanked too much from trying to IGL. So I think if anything, that's going to be the biggest factor as to why Luke may or may not get kicked. Because they could just get an IGL in Luke's place, and then Foltz and everyone else can play to their fullest, right? And then get another guy to bottom it out at the bottom with good IGLing. Because if your IGL just plays like average gameplay, but has really good IGLing, that's like amazing, because 4 players on turbo mode. Whereas right now, Foltz is stepping down a bit to IGL. Bosco is mentoring him, right? And have a committee IGL system. So everyone is kind of taking that responsibility upon themselves. And for some players and some teams, it just affects your performance a lot. So it's going to depend. How to be good as an IGL? It's just about being analytical, smart, quick on your feet, be able to adapt, and you gotta know the game inside out on a strategical level. It's all about good communication too, because IGLing is a two-way street. You need information to make decisions, and your team needs to feed you that information. You only see with your own eyes. So, in a mixture of good brains and good teammate communication. Where is the diffuser here? Where is Retro? Oh, there he is. I didn't see the diffuser icon. Gonna go for it. So the thing is that's really awkward is that the bulletproof is still alive. They haven't dealt with that yet. So there's info on everything here, but the gunfight is coming out in favor of DG. So very, very like brutal round. You see a 14 seconds there, 13, 12. They just fucking run it down, run it in. They don't even go for the plan on Retro. They go deep. And they actually go for kills. And that's because that they knew that in this circumstance, having, you know, 2 C4s left, there is no smoke, however. If you go for a plan with 13 seconds left, it's so easy to just die and the round gets lost on time. So if you just fucking go for a deep side execute and you go for kills, you're not going to get killed vertically. The information that they have don't matter as much. And you don't need to rely on like luck or C4s or anything else of vertical play. You can just take that into your own hands and take the 4v3. It was a really good decision on DG. Going for kills here is the right play for sure. And now the plan was going down once they got deep side control. Very well done. Thank you, Quan Chips, by the way. To become smart about the game like people at my level, did I actually sit down and take time outside the game to study and learn everything about the game? Yeah, I mean, we spend hours every single day just on theory sessions. You know, we have a 2-hour-long session how to take yellow stairs on consulate. We have an hour discussion how to do a CCTV attack from garage, like a singular attacking strat. Then we have a full hour-and-a-half or hour-long meeting, and then we'll do like 3 hours of trying to implement that into like the actual gameplay in scrims, and then we'll have a review session at the end of that day, talking about what worked, what didn't work, what should we change, are we gonna do it again, and how do we feel about that strat. So shooting people is only a very small portion of being a pro player. We spend hours every day, especially as IGLs. We spend a lot of time thinking about the game. Like, I have notes on my phone from like years ago. Let me see if I can find one. I don't have that many these days. I have smoke set up on a certain bomb site, Consulate Villa. Which is a note that I know. Like, you're not gonna know what it means, but to me, I know what that means, right? I want to talk about something in theory. Let's see here. Consulate, take admin connector repel, B2 repel, plant door, last guy has flank, stock plant, ping bound, coast clear default, make hooker vary from below, one office player. Like, it's small notes that I have on my phone, and it's about certain executes or about certain player positions for executes. For example, consulate take admin connector repel. What that means is you can do a consulate top floor attack from admin, and instead of having a guy on the meeting balcony and a guy long desk, you have connector repel and B2 repel, and you cut the map in half, and that allows you to plant in the meeting door, which is like super uncommon in Pro League, instead of planting on the default plant position, the bomb position. So that's what that note means, and that's like a note that I had for G2 because I wanted to go over that specific attack in our theory session. Now, I don't work for G2 anymore in Pro League, so we never went through that. But I was in bed one night with Riley, and we're trying to sleep. And then it's like 2, 3 a.m. And I woke up, and I got up, and I was like, I gotta write this down. Because while I was in bed trying to sleep, this like strat came to me. It was the same with the Clash strat on CC against Empire that we used. I was in the shower, and I was like, what if we take Clash, open up the server wall, and just peek them, you know? So you pretty much live and breathe Siege all day. I have a shield tower trick Oregon, alibi trick border. Check B2 angle to B1 angle. Consulate direct only 3 breach 2 backside. Consulate basement have 1 guy start big tower, run back via attic windows, pseudo jump out with 1 guy covering, might need reinforcement. Possible bullet hole and attic to cover jump in the window. Meeting attack, breach attack when pushing 4 guys, Zulu, 1 holding kitchen flank, 3 storage, and 1 of them plant. Could add a guy lobby. Dining retake, small tower. Like, I have all these small notes that I have. And that's like 6 years in a row, you know, it's been 6 years like that for me, every single day. I would wake up at about 9, 10 a.m. You know, then we have a theory session, then we have scrims, then we have review session, then I stream. And it's all siege. You know, I stream siege, I theory siege, review siege, and I scrim siege. And that, you know, that's why I retired. I don't think I'm not good enough anymore. I think I'm still like a pretty like average pro league player. But I don't think I have the motivation and energy to keep going right now. I need like at least a break before I keep going. If I were to join pro league again. I'm still surprised that someone like Uno is still as, you know, motivated. Because like he's been grinding for a long time but hasn't found like crazy success. Like we always fallen a bit short, like second place Raleigh Major. You know, fell short of invite, etc. But that's just what happens when you're like super passionate about your job, right? You think about it all the time. You live and breathe that job. And that's what we've done. That's how we won. That's how we got to where we were and how we were so dominant for so many years, because we thought about those strats before anyone else. Like a lot of strategies here today have origination from Penta back in like year 2. Like we were really far ahead of the curve back then, I would like to say. We're just giga nerds. Yeah, I think Uno is motivated to win, which is like, I don't have that anymore. Troy Canadian doesn't have it anymore. Like we have already won everything there is to win, basically. We want to be happy, comfortable, healthy, you know? Obviously we want to win, but when you've already won as much as we have, winning is the norm. That's like secondary, right? As you get older, your perspective changes. SSG utilizing impact tricking very nicely, something that DG could learn from. What thinking they could have done there is that you can't actually trick this area. So if you let the wall get open and then use this whole 2 impact trick discharge, you're happy days. But yeah. Oh, absolutely spicy hip fire flick from Thinking Nade. I like that jump in from shuttle because it's so like out of pace, off beat. I would have never expected it, and I don't think Thinking Nade did either. I think that's the super instinct kicking from Thinking Nade. Beautiful shot though. Shuttle should have gotten the kill there in most cases. Like that's just Thinking Nade being fucking crazy, honestly. I like that play a lot. As dumb as it might have seemed, it's actually kind of smart.
This is going to be the tough part. You've lost a serious amount of your destructive capabilities because you don't have a Sophia. And everybody from DG falls, leaving just Retro up in a 1v4.
Biggest issue with this attack is that Retro has a diffuser. He's on gym window. You can't jump in gym window. So let's say, like basically Retro is relying on everyone else succeeding in the gunfights, but he can't help them. And only then, and only if they succeed, then he can jump in and maybe get a plant down. But you know, why not take this extra gun power into the execute? It was like 3v4 or 3v5. You know? You don't have a whole lot to do here. Who came up with the anti-drone strat on a theme park where he killed drones and then retreat and reinforce the rotation holes? That's been a strat for many years on different maps. We've had strats on like the Oregon before the rework came in and stuff like that, where like you have a spare reinforcement and you'll be playing very far forward, and when it gets too hot you fall back and reinforce off the wall, and attackers like, what the fuck, we just wasted like 4 drones and all this time for nothing, you know? It's something that I like doing myself a lot. I love the idea of playing around with spare reinforcements and then reinforcing mid-round. And now that you have a shared pool of 10 reinforcements, you can do it a lot easier. Because if the guy with the spare reinforcement died or was in the right position, you're fucked. But now anyone can do it. So we've been doing that for a long time on different maps. I don't know who specifically came up with it, but I think that it's like a penta strat, you know? We've done it for a long time. Also, Melusi may SSG here as well. Maybe Melusi just brought us like extra barbed wire to like create choke points, but the way EU attacks, like these 2 Banshees, the way that EU attacks this map, these are useless. Like these are never gonna do anything in Europe. Obviously these could be fitted for DG or for any meta, but this is just useless. You could put one like below kitchen hatch, they would have to kill that. One main stairs, they would have to kill that. One motor door, they would maybe have to kill that. But these two on blue and third door are just completely useless in the European way of playing the game. Not saying that it is in this case. But that's kind of why I see Melusi as like an obsolete operator for this map. Because they can just attack around the setup. They don't have to attack the setup. Obviously, it seems like in this case, maybe they're going to be roaming with 3 or 4 people. So they're reinforcing the fact that they might rush side from dirt or blue. That could very well be the possibility here. So that they're just using it as a reinforcement in case they choose to go for it. But then again, you don't see a whole lot of side rushes either. At least, again, in Europe.
SSG obviously really liked their last defense here, and why not? If you recall, it was
Can I do the exact same strat that the other guys just did? Like they do an attacking strat that worked, and when your team goes on attack, you do the same strat even though you just seen it for the first time. Today you can, because there's no such thing as a new strat in Siege. There isn't. Like I don't think we've seen like a legitimate new strat on attacking Clubhouse for like a year and a half. Like we just haven't. I don't think. Nothing major game changing. Like, oh, I had no idea you could Amaru up the hatch and plant here. I've never thought about that. Of course we have. Like, of course we have, right? We might not have actually done it, but we have thought about it. So no, I wouldn't say that. I would say that you can replicate almost everything off the fly. Because either you've thought about it, you've seen it before, or you've maybe done it yourself. I feel like odds are that you're gonna have one of those 3 scenarios. Back in the day, there were some crazy bullshit strats, like the SSG roam strat when that first came around. Like that was pretty crazy and fancy and new. But before that, you know what I mean? Like no one really knew how to do it.
In all 3 rounds right now on attack, and yet they still come away with a round. So not all hope is lost, but I don't know what you're going to change up for DG because you.
Somebody else have reviewed the Exit TSM game. I haven't, and I'm not going to. It's a shit game. Exit playing really badly and TSM playing pretty mediocrely. Nothing crazy. No strats to break down. It's just a bunch of like mistakes or really weak gameplay. Foles playing the middle ground here between aggro and passive, very different than most players. He was hiding bathroom strip side main stairs, and now he's hiding tables in bar. Playing that middle ground between the anchors on side and the roamers up top. He can rotate accordingly depending on who needs him the most. With kitchen edge being open and dirt here, it seems like DG is gonna go for a semi-direct push and try and ignore the roamers as much as possible. Probably due to the fact of how poorly it went last time around. Now, if they haven't gone top floor at all, that's when the top floor roamers can start walking to office and C4 the floor and start disrupting the attacking plan here. And the only thing that you gotta worry about as a defender is then dirt. So, this is where we gotta see the top floor guys get into action. It does not appear that DG is taking top floor at all, so Ramby gets 1. That's Mark taken down. They haven't killed the default cam outside the building. Are you serious, man? Alright, the parking default cam's alive. Mark got shut down via it. That's a mistake. Default cam's not being shot is like the biggest mistake you can probably make in Pro League ever. And usually it's just a matter of you assumed someone else shot it as an attacker. But you should always check. A lot of people don't. Just like a lot of people don't check the scoreboard when you throw a C4 or a grenade. But you should always check when you're outside the map. Is it dead? Okay, it takes 2 seconds or like 1 second, you know? If you don't check, you're just lazy. Same with whenever you throw a nade or C4, check the scoreboard for the 50 point. And then you will know if you injured someone or not. HSG just kind of tearing apart. DG, nothing crazy going on. Gunfights were won, mistakes were made. Okay, that's an electric hand warmer. Interesting. What is the HSG roam strat? It's basically what you see here this round. Normally, the OG version is played with a castle. I assume that it's supplemented by a Melusi in this case. But basically, what you do is that you barricade off this door, and you can barricade off like this door, so like this door, right? You have one guy which is false hiding in bar, or like you're playing in this area, right? He's gonna play in the first floor and hold down the main stairs. You're gonna have 1 or 2 guys basement, probably 1 on each bomb site. And you have 2 guys roaming top floor. So you're playing a 2-1-2 strat. You can also play with a Vigil, so that you can then further disrupt enemies droning, because Vigil can actually be basement or in bar, where Force is playing, and just enable that gadget constantly. Then you have Mute Jammers and Mossy Pest Spiders upstairs in like master bedroom, office, jacuzzi, so that you gotta EMP the wall, breach the wall, start droning, deal with Mute Jammers, deal with spiders, and you don't know if they're roaming or not. So you could even do this strat, and then the 2 guys top floor that are rampy on Mossy or thinking it on Mute, they could not even be top floor. They could actually have ran back downstairs, but the attackers would never know because everything's jammed or spidered. But they have to drone it or at least think that they're roaming. So that's the SEC roam strat. As you see here, they're playing top floor, they're running back when the wall gets open. They're not trying to fight anyone, they're not gonna try to get any kills. The second that jacuzzi wall gets open, they run all the way back to server, and they have all those mossy spiders and mute jammers on the way there, so that it's hard to figure out where they are. Anyway, we solved this, so I'm gonna skip forward.
And if they're trying to distract SSG, shouldn't they be pulling a fast one? So if you're gonna
Is there any way to not having to use hand warmers? Yeah, if you don't want to. But usually, that arena that they're playing in, I mean, all the players say it's super fucking cold, so that's why they do it. I think it was a Dark Seer documentary that they released last night, like the Into the Dark, season 3 or whatever. They also spoke about how, like, their practice room is so warm, but then the stage is so cold. So, like, it's really hard to adjust to climate changes.
Why are you even pretending you want to clear upstairs? A very confusing call there from Disrupt.
If Remedy clutched that one round with Vigil and SI, NIP would have probably won the title. That was so close. Yeah, SI was kind of crazy. No Musuliku, I don't typically. I usually just watch NA and EU, the main regions. I think I might watch maybe some APAC or some LATAM games if there's like a banger game, but the way they play the game is so different, and I have no insight or experience with them. And I also think it's a weaker way of playing the game, because in both APAC and LATAM you have like really good teams at the top and really bad teams at the bottom. Whereas, you know, in North America that was also true a year ago, where like you had like 2 teams always qualifying and the rest was just like bad. But even now, like, NA is a lot more competitive, EU is super competitive, LATAM and APAC are still far behind, like overall as a region. There are some outliers and some good teams, but the games just make for kind of a weird watching sometimes. Why do you need to clear the mutant mousy from top floor? If you don't clear the mutant mousy from top floor, they can just go into office, make vertical holes, and deny the kitchen hatch. They can shoot your pellets, shoot your thermal charge, get kills, and you can't drop the hatch. And the same can do for bar. You can make vertical everywhere in Clubhouse top floor. You can see the bar hatch from top floor. You can see kitchen hatch from top floor. You can see blue hatch from top floor. So if you don't take some sort of map control away from them on top floor, you're gonna have to deal with vertical play and horizontal play and the bomb side play, right? So all 3 stages and all 3 floors. If you take top floor, then you only gotta worry about bar. Then you take bar, then you only gotta worry about basement, right? And that's typically how you roam and clear siege. You go top down. Or if it's a top floor bomb site, you can go bottom up, but that's not really a thing. Because you have, you know, window repels and exterior access such as the breach. If this breach didn't exist, this bomb site would be very different, right? And that's why exactly why this breach exists.
Nowhere for you to go except for that single doorway. So SSG is going to change some things up. The recently nerfed Echo, and by recently I mean it was still a couple months ago, but
we're seeing Godzilla vs Kong. Nah, cinemas are shut down here. I don't know if it's streamed online, but you can't go to the cinema in Germany. Can't do anything here. Even grocery stores are closed the last like 3 days.
To my knowledge, this is Luke's first time on a big stage, you know, in a serious environment like this.
Luke is 0-1-6 now on Echo duty. SSG in the same setup they did previously. Last time they did lose. So the thing about this Echo pick, right, is that neither team has played a single round of IQ. And I'm gonna assume they 6-picked it. I didn't actually check. Let's assume they 6-picked the Echo, because that makes a lot of sense, right? They did. So okay, the 6-picked from Valkyrie into Echo, which is a bit pepega, because like they both would require an IQ on DT's side, but the Echo has a different impact on the game than Valkyrie does. So regardless, it doesn't really make a big difference, right? But something to note, typically you want a 6-pick off an operator that's not IQ counter, just to get like max value. Because they might see the Valkyrie and go, oh guys, we've been fucked by Valcams like 2 rounds in a row. Let's 6-pick IQ. Right? Because they actually have been fucked by Valcams 2 rounds in a row. But regardless, it's fine. I'm just glad they got the Echo. The Echo's big. DG was low on time. They had 13 seconds left or so. Last tag execute, so SSG can probably play around that. And Luke might not hit any kills or any headshots, but he might be able to hit those yokai sonar shots and get some value there. Thank you, Morgan MRH with the 13. Oh, baby.
The recently nerfed Echo, and by recently I mean it was still a couple months ago, but we haven't seen
Yeah, Echo is nerfed. He's still very strong, but he is nerfed. They are no longer invisible, but outside of that, they're still very effective. They only really work well because you don't have a lot of time or space to look for them on this map. Why does NA play a running with DMR like a low? Because DMR on defense is super strong. A DMR on defense is a lot stronger than a DMR on attack because of how angles work and angle holding and map presence. And most defender guns are a lot weaker than attacker guns, but the DMR is an attacker weapon. Same with the AUG on Womai, that's an attacker weapon on defense. That's why it's so goddamn strong, right? And that's why, you know, people like Nurk, who has a defender gun on attack, it's a lot weaker on paper than like a lot of other attacking guns, you know? Imagine Twitch F2 on any defender, dude. That shit goes brrr. It's the same with all that. Like LMGs on defense, super strong because you're holding entry points. LMGs on attack aren't very good. I mean, they're not played almost ever, right? You play like the Gridlock LMG primary, you know, you play like Ying LMG, technically speaking, and a Maro G8. But you don't play like Sophia or Capita or Fuse LMG ever. Play the AR typically. Again, SSG playing beautifully on the impact trick. Now, this is the thing. You can choose to do what J9 does here and use one summer charge, and it's gonna get impact tricked. Once it gets impact tricked, you throw another one, and you get the breach that you desire, that you want to get. He has 2 left, so he can make this like a walking hole, whereas currently it's gonna be a vault hole, which you don't want. So probably the last 2 will go out here, right? Yeah. No? If they leave that as a crouch, sorry, as a vault hole, it's gonna be very disgusting to go through. So if anything, if you're not gonna spend that last summer charge, at least put down the summer charge a bit further down so you can crouch through it. If you gotta vault through that thing, it is not pretty. Mark didn't shoot the ADS there. Bit weird. People weird. They have 2 smokes. Remember, there's an ADS here. He clears it himself. That could have been killed by Mark there. Just saying, he didn't have to do that. Just something to note. He also cleared the ADS but didn't smoke it after, so I'm not sure what's happening here. We're setting up. 14 seconds left. There are still Yokai Jones on the board, I believe. Maybe that's not. I don't know if this being blank means that they're dead or if it's just like out of pocket. I don't know actually. It comes down to like they can't clear the shield. The thing is, look, they actually have 1 explosive left on Sophia, but Sophia is the guy on the server breach across the map. They could also have used a Selma charge to kill this shield, but they used it to clear the ADS instead. They cleared the ADS, but they didn't do anything with that. They didn't execute until way later. So this is a bit iffy. They only have 1 smoke left still they haven't used. And I guess they aren't going to use it at all. So they even have a smoke spare. I also have a Claymore spare, but that's not a big deal. And like this is not winnable. Angles are tough, shields in the way, and the gunfights go in favor of SSG. Even get a vertical C4. Nice. I don't know, that's a bit questionable. And this is with Luke going 0-7? Or did he go 0? Did he die at the end? I'm trying to see. It goes so fast. 0-6? Nah, 0-6. Didn't die. It's like a 4v5, kind of, you know, on like kills at least. Obviously, Luke played his part. breached some walls, picked some operators, did some stuffs, but didn't get any kills. At least. Look at a high rate on iconic. Yeah, I mean, look at value elsewhere. Look brings the energy as well, which is important, right? Having a guy that's up and hype and whatnot. Also, my mom, she's watching a TV show called Signs, and this chick in the show is wearing a Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege shirt, and she tweeted about it. Signs on Netflix. Look, an R6 T-shirt. What the fuck? My mom is seeing this on Netflix. It smoked, dude. I don't know. Yeah. Interesting. My mom DM'd me that like an hour ago. I think she did actually. Let me see. Yeah, she DM'd me an hour ago. I'm gonna give her a laughing emoji back. That's a good tweet. My mom is fucking all seeing apparently. She sees that shit. Very spicy. Somebody said, why do I have better gun skill with mute and smoke when they have the same gun? It's just placebo, my guy. It might just be your playstyle with mute, because with smoke, because of your gadget, you might play more conservative because you want to stay alive and use your gadget. Whereas with mute, you feel like you have to swing because your gadget is already down the floor because it's a passive gadget, right? It might just be that, honestly. It might just be that. Oxygen Mirage. Yes, yes. Yes, yes.
Stage 1 last season, we were a brand new team. We were all very driven to be the best team that we could.
Wait, Oxygen. Wait, isn't that the wrong intro? Is Bio and Splash are gone? Wasn't it Bio that they showed a second ago?
Stage 1 last.
Yeah. Oh, I guess it's like throwback to stage 1. Oh, fair enough, fair enough. He said stage 1 last season. Okay, okay, okay. It's a throwback. It's fine. It's fine. Not any production.
Versus Oregon, or Mirage versus Oregon. Mirage versus
Oh,
Oxygen.
Lord.
Excuse me, here on Oregon.
How would I go about learning all these Rainbow Six strats I can incorporate into my gameplay? I mean, unless you play in a 5-man team, you're not ever gonna need these strats ever. You don't need this in ranked, or in, like if you're playing alone. You need a 5-man team, so that doesn't matter. Oregon, Thatcher Band coming out, very normal. Will we see a Maverick contention on top, making the game a little bit more defender-sided, or will Maverick be open? A Capital ban on Oregon, dude. Spicy. Not something that I've ever seen in Europe, I don't think. Not much, at least. What team is Bio on now? Bio is now on... Is he looking for team? Let me... I don't think he's anywhere. One sec. I think he's free agent. Yeah, I think he's free agent. Wait, what? Okay. Yeah, free agent. So he got kicked off Oxygen together with Slashhawk. Slashhawk is looking for a coaching role, and Bio is free agent. Why are different regions different playstyles? It's the same game. I mean, the world is also... Oh, wait, why does France and Germany have different cultures or different languages or different food preferences or different prices in real estate, right? It's the same world. It's the same overall ecosystem, right? We all contribute to the same thing, arguably, right? The world is just different based off how things play out, your culture, how you think about something, how you do something, what your morals are. And those are affected by all these major and minor things that has happened previously in the world, right? We live in the same world, but we speak different languages and we eat foods this like different ways, but the same food, you know? Some people, they are like, you know, we used to be cavemen. Now we have knife and forks, like evolution. Latin plays more aggressive than most of the world. APAC is just less experienced and less good. They play more like wildcard style, random. EU has always been more strat heavy than NA, but NA used to have better fraggers than Europe. It's always changing. It's like always, you know, evolution. It's never like still. But generally speaking, that's always been the case. EU had better metagame understanding, NA had better strats. Sorry, NA had better gunners, EU had better strats, Apex aggressive, and Apex is just random. Or Latam is aggressive, Apex random. I think I'm fucking it up. Nowadays, NA is getting more and more strat heavy. But also, I think the game overall just doesn't have as much depth. We don't get new maps, we don't get new crazy defining operators. There isn't a whole lot of things changing. I still think that EU is the strongest region in Siege overall. Like, if you take, you know, every single team in Pro League and you average out like their skill level and you compare that to like Latam or APAC or NA, I still think Europe is the strongest. I do think that the top is similar. Like the top NA teams, top LATAM teams, and top EU teams, I think is all very similar, you know? They have strengths and weaknesses and they play the game a bit differently, but they could probably all beat each other. If you did like a best of 100, you know, like it would be a different outcome across the board. It wouldn't be like NIP always beats G2 or, you know, NA always loses to EU. Like, I think it's pretty close these days. I would say top 4, I still think EU is probably the best. But like, if they take top 2, I think it's very close. I feel like Apex has the best mechanical skills. There's no way. There's no way they do. If Apex has the best mechanical skill, not only would their players be bought up by EU and NA rosters a lot, but they also wouldn't be stuck getting first rounded at every single event. Like, you know, go out early. You know? If anything, they have less mechanical skill and less coordination and less strategy because they just play against worse opponents too. I already see that this game is very different from the previous one of HSG DG. Very aggressive start. We have duo roaming and vertical, and was it Mr. Yaka Boy? Yeah, it was Yaka Boy. Of course it is. Have I seen APAC ranked? No, but we're not talking about ranked. We're talking about Pro League, my guy. That's like saying, have you seen Pro League? Yeah. We're exclusively talking Pro League here. It doesn't matter if you have crazy cranked players in ranked. Have you seen the ranked players in Europe that cheat and stream snipe and match cancel? They're insane. But they're never gonna be in Pro League. They're never gonna be in Tier 3. They're never gonna get anywhere in the game. They're gonna be in ranked. The last place you look for talent is ranked. Like, sure, there are some players that come out of ranked, like let's say Bolo, for example. But generally speaking, you don't look at ranked and be like, oh, Apex insane because ranked is hard. That's not a thing. It's not a thing. York, Bolo, Shaiko, arguably all came from ranked. More players than that, of course, but we're not letting that define the region. Like, oh, Bolo's cracked, therefore NA is insane. No, Bolo's great. NA is kind of average, you know? Like, I hear ice cream van. You guys got ice cream vans during COVID, Jam? Jesus.
Good progress on the map control overall here so far from Mirage. We're gonna have
Apex okay these days, it is. But they still have the same issues they always have had, which is they have a lot of bad teams, which means good teams can't get good practice. That's why they bootcamp in Europe and NA during tournaments to get good practice. Free shot launcher push from Mirage. No smoker needs to assist its attack, but guns come out. Benji swings, gets 2. And it all comes down to gunfights. Without smokes or any other like side breaker like Capital, Ying, a shield, glass, or smokes, you just have to find the frags, and they did. Once they got into the 1v4, it's a pretty nice crossfire. One guy hallway, one guy freezer, Benji's pushing through the rotate. They're establishing pretty good crossfire. Houghton did peek out early, but the C4 came out, so he might as well. Not throwing their bodies at them, which is nice. Crazy how some games like League, the top rank has many people that are good enough for Pro League, but there's champ is mile off. Yeah, I mean, League of Legends is similar. A lot of like high ranked players in League of Legends would never become a good Pro League player because of how ranked differs. You know, you don't have any synergy, you just have like your own lane to focus around, and you don't have like communication or strategy. You just play to like get ahead and steamroll or whatever. And like enemies don't counter your lineup very well, etc. A lot of ranked players in League also one-trick ponies. They only play like a few champions, whereas in pro play, having a flexible dynamic like champion pool is highly sought after and expected. You know? Why is the one guy married with aces? I think it's just about the same like hair and stuff as well. Like they just have the same what's the word? Like facial structure. It's like NA aces in a way. Like they got like the beard, like ginger hair. At least it looks ginger from this camera. It might be brown. That could be why. Look like Lost Brothers. It could be. Could be. I like Ace looks happy a lot of time when I see him. He's like a, I mean, his Twitter bio is like Ginger Daddy, and like I feel like that like that's Ace's like Ginger Daddy for sure. He smiles a lot too. He has a funny laugh. Super nice guy.
I really enjoyed their defensive setup. Love what they did with the laundry area, especially to support Laxing's gunfights. They had him set up with a shield inside of the
same setup. Y'all get consisting early. Same pre-fire. Both sides across. Same exact round playthrough, like the first like 30 seconds. Super early brief roam. No one contesting laundry stairs here from Oxygen, so they could maybe do a triple roam next time. Just waste the drone, waste some time, contest them. Turtle down afterwards. Same setup with the shields, same crossfires. Also Mirage, currently looking like they do the same thing, but note, they have a side breaker. They brought the Ying. And the Ying's gonna change everything here for Mirage. Like now they actually have something to enable the execute. That's not just pure gunfights. So that's the side breaker that they need. Very, very beautiful adaptation. Doing the same strat? I mean, same but different. Same but different. So I think the Middle East deserves to have at least one major team. No, I don't think so. Oof. Flash and nades. Laxing gets taken out early again. That position is not working out in their favor whatsoever, yet at least. Like if you look at it, right? I think APAC should have less teams than EU, NA, and LATAM. Like I think it should be like EU, NA, LATAM gets the most teams, and then APAC gets like a little bit less, but still has teams in pro play. There's no point bringing like Middle East or any others like sub-regions. Like there's just no point. It's like a waste of competition, and if anything, they're so underdeveloped currently that they need time to be a domestic region and then start branching out, right? Same with LATAM. LATAM had their own circuit in Latin America for like a year, and then they joined Pro League, and they were actually viable to compete. That's great. If we got like another sub-region in Pro League right now, they would be made fun of like APAC did for the first like 2 years, and they'll just get clapped in the first round at every single event. It's a waste of time and space, right? But if they work domestically in a year, 2, 3 years, maybe then we can talk about having a sub-region join Pro League.
Once again here for
sure.
It just seems like this team has lit a fire under him. We'll have to see if that continues for him inside of
APAC also has more teams than other regions because they're divided into like what is North and South or whatever. They have like a subdivision within a division. It's a bit weird. Oof. Yaga with a very wide, desperate swing, trying to even back the man count, and Oxygen getting picked apart by the Incandelas coming in. And as a side breaker execution plant commences and crossfire has been established, Riddle gets 1, gets 2, bomb gets denied, 1 versus 2 now. Very winnable for Jaeger. If this was a smoke, however, with SMG-11, you don't have enough bullets to land those shots in the first place. But thankfully, Vertical is a Jaeger player. And fist bump, hello? Oh, there it is. Beautiful. Really good setup. A bit Pega plant position, and obviously Vertical found the frags, but yeah. Not bad at all. It was a bit of a shame that Ying died after the first Candela, because she didn't get a whole lot of value and whatnot, but hey, they found their frags once again. Quickest way to get out of a slump, in my opinion, is Siege. There's no quickest way. It's like, what's the best way to improve? It's like, there's no best way. Like, everyone's different, you know? Everyone, you know, they think differently, they approach things differently, they learn differently. Mavericks expect to Ying once again, bringing the side breaker. In hindsight, having the Maverick here would have been fucking lovely on the side of a Mirage. Only having a Ying, not having access to a Thatcher does slow down the attacks quite a bit and you're forced into verticality. But they have Sophia and Ashe for that job, so not the end of the world. I personally would have ditched the Nomad and gone the Maverick probably. That way you get nades and you get the second heart breach. You can put Maverick on Attic with one other player. You can math this open while you start on working on Master Bishop at the same time. Then you get a pinch going. And you have nades to clear positions. Nomad doesn't bring the nades. The Nomad, I mean, flanks are covered, question mark. But like, other than ADS clear, she doesn't bring a whole lot. It is nice to have 6 flashbangs though, because if you had the Maverick, you'd have 3 flashbangs to clear stuff with, which is not pretty. Especially against my Jaeger team, right? So for that, the Nomad is great. But for the actual execute of this, it's going to be maybe difficult.
Give him an opportunity to have a character like this and actually execute with it could bode extremely well.
How do you get recognized as a new player? Get champion, get diamond, like get up in the ranks. You can also start playing on FPL. I think it's called FPLC, and start working your way up. Stream, make YouTube videos, make content always. There's no point in not doing it if you're trying to get out there. And obviously befriend pro players if you can, or if like you play with them or whichever. Join a team, a tier 3 shit team, a tier 4 shit team, and just get in some team experience for like IGLing and teamwork and synergy and communication, so that if you ever get, you know, an offer from a good team, at least you've already tried scrimming before. You're not gonna be like, yo guys, what is a scrim? How do we choose maps? Like, you should know all that when you join a good team, right? So join a tier 5 team, just get experience. You gotta grind for it. It's gonna take a lot of unpaid hours, a lot of work that goes unpaid and unappreciated before you'll ever see a paycheck. I mean, I played Pro League 2 years with a $0 salary, and I had no followers or anything. That was just like working for free, you know. Need a team to play FPL? No, FPL is solo.
We'll see how Mirage tries to handle this.
Playing a Toma Bear or Toma Bear.
Try and set up loading in a pretty optimal position here. He's already got all of his air jabs down, so
speaking of vertical, that is what we're doing. With the Ying, we can actually go for a pretty nasty white stairs big window take. That's what the Ying Candela's allow you to do. Typically, not really an option. It's very difficult to execute without the Ying. But you see every ADS clear, Maya clear, Yings come out, smoke comes out, execute starts. Nothing can really stop you in this scenario. You can just start planting and the Candelas will do the rest. I would have loved to see him use the smokes to smoke off the corner maybe. Or smoke off the deep angle because it wasn't covered correctly and the frag comes through. Or maybe you walk deep into big window and plant deeper and you smoke off the deep angle. I don't know. But the smoke is not being used here. It kind of punishes them. They just found the line of sight and the angles weren't held correctly, and then now the bomb is in a really awkward position. The smokes can come out now, and then the second execute will have to go through. But they can't plant in this time around, so it'll have to come down to frags. Oh, and this is your turn, buddy. You gotta go in. There it is. It's really awkward position here. They gotta get at least 1 kill before anything can start happening. Last man is Harden and big window with diffuser. He's in that awkward position. Foxy with the full sprint, it looked like. Was he out of ammo? 1 sec. Foxy, where are you? Here, 31. I don't know he's out of ammo or not, but he was fucking sprinting, dude. And Yaga wins once. Making Challenge League takes a lot of work. Yeah, of course it does. It takes a fuck ton of work. It takes a lot of work. Challenge League right now is like a 1-year journey, and then you gotta spend another year. Like, you gotta spend like a year and a half from national qualifier, national league, Challenge League. Like, it's like a year and a half, 2-year journey before you can ever even think of Pro League. It's crazy. It's actually a really insane grind. But you have organizations, you have, you know, weekly tournaments during the season, and you even have salaries these days. But the spot is owned by the org, not the players. Which means if the org doesn't want you, they can kick you out and pick up someone else, and then you'd never make Pro League. Well, like, you don't make Pro League that season. That sucks.
So ending on a positive
Don't know
note,
why organizations have the control of players in a tier 3, tier 4 format. In Pro League, it makes sense. We have pilot programs, skin share. You know, let's say the player is going to fuck over an org. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Like, imagine 3 G2 players are like, fuck G2, we leave. And then, like, what happens to the skin and stuff, right? That makes sense that the org owns the spot. But for tier 3 and, like, National League and stuff, it don't make any sense. The orgs will just be like, yo, guys, we'll offer you a $100 salary. Take it or leave it. The players say, hey, we deserve more than $100. We ask for 500. Then the org says, goodbye, you're kicked. And then they pick out some other team for 100. Because then they save money, right? So, like, you have no leverage as a player in tier 3 anymore. Which kind of sucks.
Try to get himself in the way early on in the round once again. This lurk over here towards the yellow halls by Small Tower.
well, a good entry
Oh.
start for good droning, and that's what good
Jog
droning
gets shut down this time. Overextended a bit. Oversteady as well. Coming 38 seconds left, or 2:38. Last time it was 2:30. He was already down the freezer stairs. Vertical answers back. Aggression with aggression.
Again, John. No more air jabs.
I would love to see Oxygen do something different here. Like, they keep falling back to side, then they chill, and then nothing happens. You know, like, this time they have rotated more ADSs onto Laxing. Rotate all the shields so that blue isn't prioritized. Realize that Mirage is indeed going for a similar attack on the front end of the building. Also, Mirage might actually want to consider going for a backside take this time around, because if you do the same thing a third round in a row, you can do what Oxygen just did, where you do indeed, you take the shields, you take the ADSs, and you put everything on one side of the map. If you go backside now as Mirage, you have nothing in your way. No shields, no ADSs, nothing. Instead, you're going to be taking it head on in the most difficult manner ever. Unless you adapt.
No, not at all.
Which we love to see.
That they've already done.
Are we actually adapting? Are we going backside? Do we realize this?
Big issue now, though, is since they don't have any air jabs, they can't hold down these staircases, and Oxygen are definitely going to
Maybe.
that. They're going to get aggressive here and try and
Droning a bit early out here, but it's fine.
You know, execute, whether it be through E-Box or what have you. We'll have to see. Mirage still has yet to truly commit to something just yet. Looks like they want to maintain this back.
I'm still not sure where they're going. Need a brew player, first of all. It does appear they're going for a full backside take here. We love to see this adaptation. Even if they don't win this round, I will say, very, very nice adaptation. Realizing that the front side is very, very heavily reinforced. A little bit low on time, very low on drones. Now they lost the only player that's not on backside, so there's no pinch anymore. It's just straight gunfights now on one side of the map. And Kino says no. I mean, the rotate was good in theory, but they didn't do much with it. Blue guy came way too late. They used all the drones way too early. Like, they spent 3 drones, like 1 electric hatch, 2 drones tower stairs, and then they ran there. They should have gone there, then droned it, then, you know, worked off the drones, if anything. Smoke calls off the staircase angle. You fight the electric guy, then you take the guy in blue. Very nice from Kino as well. The smoke on the staircase here is just like super nice. All you gotta do with smoke and with SMG11 is pick gunfights 1v1 that you can actually win. And by denying the staircase angle, you can just fully focus on that one gunfight. And then once that guy's dead, you can fully focus on the blue guy behind you. And then you can focus on the staircase guy afterwards. That's super nice.
I mean, that was fantastic. Like you were saying, that early pick.
He did reload RVP. He did reload. Like an SMG11 reload between each kill. It's so disgusting. What age do I think is too old to try to go pro? It depends how early you are. Let's say you've never played any form of competition. If you're 23, probably too late for you. If you've been playing, you know, semi-competitively before, or even currently, and you're 20-something, like 22, 23, 24, it's not too late. But the older you get, the less odds are that you want to be a Pro League player. When you're 18, playing the same game 24/7, you know, 12 hours a day, always thinking about it, that sounds like a great job. Getting paid to play the same game every day? Fuck yeah. When you're 23, education, girls, marriage, kids, houses, education, long-term future, stability, financial freedom. there's a lot of real life shit that happens, right? And the older you get, the less and less lucrative that world feels. You start shifting your perspective, and all of a sudden, life is important, right? Life looks very important. I mean, I'm an example of that myself. I was just grinding, you know, all day, every day, and then the older you get, the more your priorities change.
To meeting in kitchen. Downstairs as well as Big Tower will be the priority, and you can see exactly why. Usually on this meeting site,
I don't know, Kai. The Oxygen logo is definitely... I want to say it's work in progress, but it's not. It is final, but it could use a touch-up. Yeah, it could. They were called like Genji Gaming before that, like a monkey logo, I think. I like that more. I didn't know the fuck it was, but I liked it more. Remember when it got leaked that Oxygen was joining this, like Reciprocity was joining this org? And everyone was like saying it was like some big org in like different region. But they're like, no, it's like Genji Gaming. It's like some like 2,000 follower Twitter account with like a monkey picture. And I was like, that's gotta be like a fake leak, right? Like a joke. It wasn't. It was true. And they became Oxygen. Oh, relaxing. They became Oxygen Esports. Thank you, Peter, for getting Yasu Bro with this episode. What got me into FPS genre? Siege did. I was playing mobile games. You know, I wanted to be a pro player in League of Legends. And then after failing to go pro for many, many years in a row, Siege came out, and I was like, fuck it, I'll try Siege. I saw the trailer. I was like, that sounds like a fun teamwork game. You can like rappel down buildings and shit. Like 3, 2, 1 punch the window. So I bought the game of my best friend Prixie. And the rest is history. It's my first FPS game. Siege, that is. All first, dude. These are some monkey-ass shenanigans. It seems like no... What? Lags! That's a tick. Again, Laxing, he does these weird things that I get triggered. He has Diffuser. It's 1v3. He knows Benji's white stairs because his teammate just died there. He fucking... He just white swings it, dude. Now he has Diffuser. 32 seconds left. 1v2. It's winnable now. They had Crossfire with a guy in here, Laxing on Freezer stairs. It's like unwinnable by Benji. This should never happen, ever. Like, no. Man came sprinting out the corner. That's a tick if we had the tick list open. Oh, I hate that UI bug. Like, that's a good Crossfire. Like, that 1v2 Crossfire was beautiful. But they could have made that a 1v3 Crossfire with Diffuser. That's even better. As this is LAN. Keep in mind, this is not online ranked or online pro league. There's even less of an excuse to do it. It's 0 ping, LAN environment. Swing up is swung doesn't exist in this game on this LAN event. It's very much favorable to hold angles, or at least it's much better than online. I have the best friend I started playing with. Prixie just... I mean, when I started playing Siege competitively, he stopped playing the game because he only played it because I played it. So he was playing other games and stuff. And then like we just talk less and less. He got me into streaming. He was my moderator and stuff for the first couple of years. Great communication on that front. But when the early picks come through for Oxygen, everything seemingly falls apart. They were able to get it done. Somebody said best games to start training to become a pro right now. The best game to play to go pro in is the game you enjoy the most. There's no point being like, oh, I can go pro in Overwatch 2 because that's a new game. If you don't like playing Overwatch, you shouldn't want to go pro in it, right? You should play whatever game you enjoy the most, or you know that you're best at, and then play that one game. You know, you're gonna be better off playing one game than playing 3 games and trying your luck everywhere, right? It's easier to go pro in a game that's new. Like when Siege came out, it came out December 1st. I went pro December 25th. So in 25 days, 24 days, I went pro. And that would never happen in League of Legends or Counter-Strike because that doesn't work that way, right? So it's obviously way easier to go pro in a game that's new because there are no current pro players. But there's also no established pro scene or salaries or anything else of the kind. Unless it's like Valorant, you know? So it's a mixed match.
the envelope on that.
Would I consider a role as a coach? No. I wouldn't currently want to be a full-time coach, but whenever I know what org I'm going to be working for in the future as a streamer, I would definitely be like a secondary coach for sure. Like if I join as an organization that has a Siege team in Pro League, of course I'm gonna like, you know, be there in scrims, talk strategy, have meetings, go to Pro League events with them. Of course I am. But if I join an org that doesn't have a Siege team as a streamer, then no, of course not, because they don't have a team. I can't work for someone else.
Seemingly going for default. Want to go for attic and then rotate that on over to what seems to be a possible master clear. Still have plenty of utility to do.
Yeah, secondary coach support staff. I wouldn't mind. Vertical is such a rat, dude. Man is holding down the fort in big tower like I've never seen before every single round. Nyx does drone it. Sad. Why is Pika's advantage so permanent in Siege? I mean, Pika's advantage exists in every game. It's just really bad in Siege because of leaning. And I guess just the servers are kind of ass. But leaning makes every single negative thing about Siege even worse. Because leaning creates perspective issues, and Pika's advantage, and animation issues, and flinching issues, and hitbox issues. And it creates this like client-sided outcome. So, leaning is a big part of what makes Siege bad. Laxing, again, kind of just iffing around. Jumps up after the C4 into Maverick holes. I don't know. I respect it, but I don't know.
Not the case. Nyx gets the revenge instead, taking him down, and Nyx even has Overwatch for this potential flank coming in for Vert right now too. So great handle on the situation.
Is there any reason for you to not become a content creator for a team if you're doing content creation anyway? So you can either do what King George does and just have your own personal sponsors and just like you just stream, right? That's it. Or you can join an org, pick up their sponsors and like a baseline salary, and work beyond yourself. You probably make more money doing what King George does, but it's less like purposeful. Like you just wake up every day and you stream Siege of all the games. Like it's you know, that's it. Working in an org means content creation, meeting new people, learning from new people, being in a bigger area of esports, and you have so much more flexibility after your streaming career ends with like coaching or management roles or whatever. And you can be employed and have healthcare and dentist, and maybe they have housing for you or whichever the case might be. I would say it's probably worth it for most people to be in an org. In most cases. Unless you make a massive, like you say, XQC, Lyric Shroud, being in an org makes no fucking sense. Or you're like someone like King George, you know, years ago, and you build up your own personal branding, that makes a lot more sense. Whereas if I were to quit right now, I wouldn't get into King George's position for another like year or two. I would just build up my contacts and my sponsors and all that stuff. And then in a year or two, I would be vibing, right? But as a more immediate takeoff, an org will get you straight into that scenario with a guaranteed income. XQC isn't an org though. He isn't, but he is. Like XQC is technically speaking in Luminosity, but what exactly that means, I don't think anyone knows, because they don't do anything. Like, it's almost like he like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. There's no trace of him being in Luminosity ever, anywhere. And Luminosity did the same with Ninja, because Ninja also came out of Luminosity Gaming. So it doesn't really make any sense to me on a business level. Like, player of games, streamer from Luminosity, but he has like his evolved agency like thingamajig, and if you go to his stream, like, where is Luminosity Gaming? Like, they just aren't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what Luminosity is paying for, but Felix is getting the bag probably, right? Honestly, wait. If XQC lives in America, maybe that's why. Because XQC is Canadian, and he would need a visa to be in America. So maybe it's like a visa thing. Like, that could be it. I don't know if he lives in Canada anymore. I have no idea. But it could be a visa thing. Which makes sense. Like, he gets the visa, they get XQC. It's like minimal effort for both people. Everyone's happy, right? So, LG gets free promotion, quote-unquote promotion. They don't get any almost, but they get some. They get the Twitter bio, you know, and XQC gets a visa. Maybe that's the salary. Instead of paying him money, they paid him a visa. That's like a win-win kind of. Oh, he lives in Texas? Oh, fair enough. I don't know. It's a very unique and kind of different dynamic partnership because, you know, Shroud, Lyric, you know, big streamers, Force, and like they're not in an org. But if they were, they would be super involved like Nate Shot. Like let's say Shroud joined TSM. Shroud would literally be like Nate Shot of TSM, except that, you know, Reginald and Bjergsen pretty much is that already. But point being is that they would be like the front runners faces of the org because of the size and the audience. And they would get like, you know, they would get, what's it called? Equity share, like a part ownership of the organization. Every single win the org gets, they win because they directly benefit from the success of the org. That would be like the Shroud, XQC, Force, and Lyric approach, right? Whereas as a player or as a smaller streamer, you know, you get their sponsors, you get a bit of a salary, and then you work together and, you know, you try and make each other better, but you don't really get any bigger advantage out of it. The org always benefits the most in most cases. Unless you branch out or like you're a long-term commitment to the org, maybe.
Allow for a pick or two in Oxygen's favor here about halfway through the round. They're still looking for that opening frag or two. They need to justify the rest of their push, but they have not found it yet. Everybody on Mirage remaining as stalwart as they can.
I love the Anna, dude. Man is vibing as his hologram and peeking up the hatch. Dream looking for his first frag of the game here, going 0 and 5, pulling a Luke from earlier on Clubhouse. If Dream can stay alive here, that is basically round 1 for Mirage. The second Dream gets taken down, it gets a lot more complicated. Lich Smoke coming out, we love to see it. Disgusting. Flank from Nux is massive here. And all of a sudden they get a bit more ground for their money, but 4 nades came out from Oxygen Esports and Dream gets taken down. Loaded got Hobo control in the meantime though, which again puts them back on the map. Nux with a triple kill. White Stairs Devil of Doom, dude. And loading in a 1v2 with a DMR on vertical holes with metal beams. This is like the absolute most disgusting gunfight you can ever have. DMR with a 1x scope, 1.5x scope, sorry. Vertically down through beams. You might as well fucking hip fire at this point. It is tough to win. Hell no, dude. XQC's name is Felix and so is PewDiePie's. Coincidence? I think not. I mean, true, dude. You know the Harlem Shake back when that was like a thing? I saw the original PewDiePie Harlem Shake before he censored certain areas of his body. Not many fans can say that, but I am one of those OG PewDiePie fans. I saw the uncensored Harlem Shake PewDiePie dance. I'm an OG. Then he took it down like an hour later or however long it took and uploaded like a censored version, but yeah. Harlem Shake was massive, dude. Everyone did it, like the US military, dancers, musicians, artists, YouTubers, like everyone did the fucking Harlem Shake. Is it ridiculous? It was like a viral trend. Anyone to turn off player names? It's currently bugged, called. It's currently bugged. Even when you turn them off, they're still on. An army did it? Yeah, I know. It's weird. Falcon said, I think I'm the 1% who don't think PewDiePie is funny. I mean, I don't really watch Felix anymore, PewDiePie, but I used to as a kid, when I was younger. Like, back in the Amnesia days, dude, the OG days. Fucking, Stefano and shit, right? Stefano? I feel like it was Stefano. The little trophy man.
But they're just not able to maintain life to make it to where they have a better chance going into those last 30 seconds.
Do I have an FAQ? Not really.
Not going to change up a single thing.
Kind of, not really.
Offensive lineup. As for Mirage, it looks to be more of the same as well, all except for Nyx, who is now on the goal.
Mirage doing the same thing as Oxygen. Early peak Aru. Back to side Aru. Also playing Wamai. We've seen a lot of Wamai today. Hence the Wamai bans, I guess. So you're playing a Rooney, Wamai, and Jaeger on basement. You got a hell of an eye. 2 shields and a third from smoke. Dreams or Dream still working that scoreboard there.
good intel, I believe, leading up to Nick, so was hoping he was going to be able to take him out. That's why he bypasses taking out the default.
The
And a
Manic
couple other
King
steps
challenge?
down there, but he's very quick
Is that
to
just like standing still?
realize when it was getting just a tad too hot in that situation and back away.
How old is that game? What, Amnesia?
End up giving that early death away.
I want to say 2012 or 2011. 2010. 2010.
Steady so far, but that's exactly what we expect
2010.
here on Oregon. Oxygen still manning this offense extremely well, just currently working through meeting, getting the electrical hatch open. They're going to have to worry about a Saria gate on that, so they'll have to burn that later on. But since those cooldowns are so long, it shouldn't hold them back.
Is Extended Barrel good on Vector? I wouldn't say so.
Still have two of those actually to worry
I
about.
personally wouldn't play it.
One on loading
Extended
store.
Barrel is kind of dog shit in general. Like, the value it brings is so little.
As well, so.
Yeah, could
Actually, nice breaching off the electric wall here with a smoke grenade. Denying the hot and cold position in Shaiko.
coming in now and,
A lot of teams call that spot Shaiko's spot.
for their opportunity.
I don't personally, but for the sake of them, I always call it Shaiko today. They kind of breached a little bit far left. The shield is still playable, as we see. Ideally, you want to flush him. If you breach like far right, he has to go either left into vertical, or he goes right and he faces Yoka. They breached too far left, and now he can just hawk in the corner. Now he'll have to get naded out or flushed out, but Foxy has nades. So that could happen. And there it is. Bonk. Okay. Oh, no, the gate is up. That is some Pepega, dude. There we go. And yoink. Very nice. Shouldn't have taken 2 nades, but we got there. Dropping? Question mark. Frags are coming out left and right. Laxing actually flanked Freezer hatch drop. I love that personally. Perspective client-sided one-way angle there from Laxing. Dream 006 has to find 2 kills. That is a major stonks on the scoreboard if you could get this round for his team, but I wouldn't trust a man with 0 kills in a clutch, but it is possible. He has a shield and an ADS. And he has diffuser. Probably unknowingly, but he has it. Great position here. Laxing almost gets shook up by the smoke. Nice. 3 seconds left. 2 seconds left. Woo-ha! Dream didn't have to get both kills. He played it for the time. Very nice.
I'm over here dream clapping. I'm just dream clapping.
It's a bit unfortunate, right? Because Laxing doesn't have any way to get out of Freezer but the door, and it was smoked. Meanwhile, the guy in blue has a shield facing him, so like they're both like, what are we gonna do here, boys? The guy in blue can just fucking yeet across probably and see if he can make it past, but because Laxing can't really get in. I'm playing Labyrinth after this one. I'm bringing another game. I don't know. Probably playing Labyrinth soon, TM. I'll TM deal you.
That's a tall task for a lot of people, you know, and a lot of the time it doesn't get you very many kills, or sometimes not even assists. But when you're needed,
Got a single Riley as well. She's playing Valorant, I think. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, sir.
That round from Mirage and keep them in the running up against OXG.
All right, guys, into round 9. Mirage stay in the pack and stay close to the scoreline of OXG, but is it going to be enough to fully route back? We'll have to find out and see here. As they're going
Bit of back and forth juggle here.
To the kitchen as well as cafeteria hold, interestingly enough. OXG took the
Playing with an old strat on the side of Mirage. They're playing for the impact tricks, I guess, on the shower. We got a shield, ADS, and you got like the right-hand side reinforced, left-hand side is like bottom left holes. This enables you to impact trick the wall successfully. And without Hibana on the board, it is actually quite strong. Because you can get out 2 of the 3 summer charges, so you impact here. If you're Oxygen in this scenario, because you are going for a small tower take, if you Ash open this wall, and then Ash you throw your summer charge, if you fucking run in and kill the guy, that's your best approach, I think. Because you're gonna lose 2 summer charges otherwise, and the 3rd can't really breach much, so you gotta Maverick the wall. It's messy. So these guys got smoked. Yeah, okay, wait. Where am I? I'm at 54. Alright, let me just go back a bit. 1 sec, Laxing. Euro on defense is Oxygen. Okay, so we gotta go back a bit more. There's a kitchen defense. Where is it? Is it here? That's basement. Is it this round? Is it this round? Is it this round? 1 second. Oh, it is. It is. All right. Let me just show you who got smoked. 1v3 has diffuser, has a triple crossfire setup, swings the door, and gets smoked, as he says, by Benji.
Scratch that. 2 more trades.
What was that?
And as a result of that missed
Am I watching a rank game in Plat 2, Laxing? Am I watching your ass swinging on LAN in a 1v3 with the fuse on the ground?
information, Benji's
I don't know, dude. Check the scoreboard. Oh, okay, dude. Oh, okay, you and the scoreboard, dude. You know what? I'll let the numbers do talking. How about that?
It's at a really, really weird
You guys still have the lead. It's 5-3 for Oxygen. Kitchen defense on the way. Now, I want to see you guys fucking brute force this wall right here as you sum of the wall. Okay, that's what I want to see you from you guys. I want to see you guys not waste your summer charges. I don't want to see the Maverick come out. I want to see a fucking Ash the wall open, run it fucking down, get the double kill in server, or in showers rather. And I feel like if any team could run it down like that, it would be you guys. He said I win these and swung. Yeah, but then he died. It's like, I win these. What is that? He prone peeked it against the shield. He's crazy. Oh, that's fucking... As nukes right there, that's like horror. When the Ana booty comes running at you like that, you're like, ah. Okay, we're ignoring bathroom for now. One thing you actually can do, if you take Maverick here, you can actually Maverick the top angle through the floor, from top floor, and you can actually get an angle all the way into the shield position. Fun fact. You can Maverick down here into the wall and kill this player. Or at least, depending on where he is, you can kill him. You can also throw a smoke grenade here, bounce it off, land here, then ace this from the vertical, and you can therefore kill this guy from the breach.
Dealing quite a bit of damage to not loading as well.
very, very tense early around here. As
We did that ourselves back in... I know who we played against. Kenzo did it. It's pretty spicy.
Or at least clear out the players in position over by the showers area there
Yeet.
too. Not loading. I mean, we can see the aggression right here. Not
Oh, happened in the Sonics DC game? Oh, really? I haven't seen that game. I was gonna watch it if this one, but... Yeah. It's interesting because almost every single team in this case, they always try and kill the player that is nukes in showers. Oxygen is playing like a box around it right now. They have pretty much like half the map, but they don't have that room. If I was Mirage, I'll be a tad confused as to what the attack is here, because they're pretty much everywhere on the map. Like now they're coming top floor, Yaka finds a kill into Benji. It's like, are they going top, are they going first floor, are they going lobby? Like, where exactly is Oxygen attacking from? They took small tower, opened up the line of sight, then they pieced out. Now they're actually starting to work on the lobby side of things. A lot of movement happening. Not a lot of refrags. So, is that Kino that left in? It is. So Diffuser is on Kino. He's completely alone in small tower. And he's the only guy pinching. If Kino dies, that is going to be terrible for Oxygen. It's going to be a frag execute most likely by looks of it. There's not going to be a plant possible here, I doubt. Shouldn't be anyhow. But then again, Dream has no smokes. Kill comes off on Laxing. 2 versus 3. Now we can work our way through the bomb side. One guy is still in showers. The guy that we've left there the entire round. Comes down to a crouch stance and Dream loses it. What? He doesn't even take any damage? What? This? Look how fast Laxing swings this guy, by the way. Look at the pace. The pace of this man. He's full sprinting, fucking glide Tokyo drifts across the floor. And more importantly, look at that flinch mechanic from Nomad. Look at that flinch. Is that like the arm and the hand like blocking the upper chest and the gun is aiming at the ceiling, but he's shooting... The flinch is ridiculous in this game, I'm telling you. Like, if you're Dream, that's bullshit, dude. That you call bullshit right there. This is not Dream's day. He's having a hard time. That flinch is atrocious, though. That wouldn't happen in CSGO. Trade back on nukes. Kino is coming down with the plant. Yaga covering. They've pushed all the way into kitchen for this one. Very smart play. Laxing playing the baiter in the meantime. The second this plant goes down, mind you, Yaga can basically run out of the back door and either run up big time into attic rotation or go out the window into attic window, then take kids control and you have vertical on diffuser. Or you can go back through meeting up the armory stairs and then you have vertical. Basically, what I'm saying, if you can get us at the building or jump out the window, rappelling to kids, you have vertical on diffuser for post plant and you win guaranteed every single time. So if you can extract out the window, rappel up inside kids, you win the round guaranteed, right? Basically.
In every single direction, Nyx with a
Nyx,
impact,
you good?
some extra damage to himself, down to a singular bullet of
He did evacuate, not sure where he's going.
Thankfully, just a small amount
He
being done to
stays, fair
himself
enough.
there. Tries
He
to
could have
get
gone above,
right up
would have been
on the
amazing,
dog.
would have been like
Goes
zero
the
risk
other
of
way.
losing.
Yogg
Had Nyx won the gunfight there, comes down to 1 versus 1, and anything can happen there, so.
for the OXG roster.
We do love those post plants. Also, I think Nyx just shot like 1 or 2 ADSs shooting that Iona clone.
The OXG
1 ADS, 2 ADS.
is set in a confident position.
Man shot both ADSs trying to kill that Iona clone. That's some stonks value.
Now over their opponents, but just a single round being
Didn't matter because they didn't come for him, but
These rounds
still
are so
kind of big
close.
actually.
Oxygen just barely coming out on top right now though, and only needing one more. to win.
Licensing sitting on
Gonna
10
pressure
kills
on
now.
Mirage here.
Very
It's
nice.
perfect for the next 3 rounds from them.
Also did run it down there, but hey, it's fine.
Still had an opportunity
At least they
there
know the plan is
to
safe.
to win that before that double kill ended up happening, and Lax was able to get those really, really influential frags. But I mean, I really like how Mirage was still standing tall inside of sight.
I love the fact that N is on land, dude. This is sick.
Maintain control of that showers
We love to
area
see it.
to make things extremely difficult for Oxygen, and that's exactly what happened and why Nyx was able to get away with
There's
it
also very little
because of
space
what
between
happened
them.
right there.
You can get some mad shit talk, which is probably why it happened the first play day, you know? You can literally, if you dream, I don't know who this guy is, but if you're this guy, you need to be like, yo, idiot! You know, like, vertical, you suck.
Otherwise, they're gonna
It's
lose
that easy,
this
dude.
here to OXG on Oregon.
Find out if they're going to be able to do it. We can still see in games. We can see some of the operator.
You can almost screen peek. If you're like, huh? You can almost screen peek the two gaps here. Mic them up? They should mic them up. They should. The amount of content they would have, dude. Unchallenged.
Other players sticking with what they've been using, laxing when he isn't getting picked in the early round there, still finding his very
Thank you, LMP.
round
Thank you,
clutch
Seka.
moments from the Nomad too.
The trash
So
talk is boring only because it's forced. It's not always forced though, right? Like, let's look at the Disrupt Gaming SSG game. Luke was having some actual trash talk because they lost the 2v3 with diffuser control. And Luke's like, how do you lose that? You know? Like, that's good. I like that stuff. It's literally just people yelling to yell. I mean, for sure some of it is. For sure some of it is. And the only bad thing about miking a player up is that it might lead to more like trash talk for the sake of content, more than like, you know, actual trash talk coming from within. Like good old trash talk, you know? Like the documentary that we were featured in, not the Troy, me and Sig, but what was it called? Another Mindset? This we didn't know that Shaz was mic'd up. We actually had no idea. So all of our conversations are genuine. Like there's so many scenes at Gamescom that year.
So I'm Shaz, or
Like in this room, we didn't know Shaz was wearing a microphone.
Tom. Basically, I can be anything
We're just
under
like
the sun.
talking strats,
I could
talking
be
Pro
a
League, you know,
nanny,
preparing
I
for the
could
event.
be-
We actually played Laxing in the... Was it semis or grand finals? We played Elevate.
Just looking
think it was
analytics at the opponents.
semis,
I could be looking at
But
our
it could be
own
grand finals. I don't
strats,
remember.
all the way back to again like banning what maps do they play and what
Pretty sure it was
maps do
semis.
they play and should we pick up a new map?
Wait, what's finals?
Just need to keep
I
calm
don't
when
remember.
you're on stage, boys, because these guys are going to be more nervous than
But yeah, Shaz talking here, we had no idea, dude.
us. So just let them shake themselves apart.
So when this came out, we're like, wait, they had you mic'd up this entire time? You didn't tell us? And he's like, no, I want you guys to focus on the game. And I mean, we did, but... So who did we beat? Who did we beat? We beat... Not Bath casting.
Again.
Doesn't show.
And that was the first time that I realized how
I guess it
much
was
it
Elevate.
meant to me.
No, see, Laxton said it was semis. I think it was semis too. I don't know. I was trying to figure it out. I could just look it up on Liquipedia. But yeah, no, we had no idea that this was happening. We were told that they were filming all the teams. So we're doing VOD review, like 7 people in this tiny room. We have face ends right now. Jonas, Goga,
It was the first
me.
time for everyone, and none of
This is how we do VOD review back in the day. We have 6, 7 guys in one small hotel room with a double bed, and we all cram in there, and we just study VODs for like a couple hours.
took the first night. We just watched a lot.
This was invite. It's crazy.
Especially for a position like, Nomad, right? Where you're going to be more on
Season 1 finals PC Penta Sports to Elevate Day 1. Ah.
They are actually probably one of the best fire
Wait, it wasn't
teams
season.
for that kind of situation.
What?
I mean, it's just
Wouldn't it be
very
season
minimal
2? Because season 1 was
really
Katowice,
put a
and that's
break,
Gamescom.
and it
No?
does an absurd amount of damage. I mean, that's exactly why he won
It
the
was
league
year
bottom of
2,
white.
season 2.
Especially the second one. I mean, it's just way
Gamescom.
too much damage to try and deal with in certain engagements. But
Thank you,
that
Wraith.
was the gun talk and stats talk now, folks. We're down to
Wrathy,
the
Wraithy.
possible last round between these two, as Oxygen have already made their entry into the building. It's a small tower take for them, and they're gonna have to worry about some Mirage members down low inside of security.
Quickly clearing things out on the first floor here.
Right, we're not trying to play the horror game soon.
Map control. More importantly, get it as quickly as they can here. Yeah, definitely a bit of a weird one from Nyx, as he's going to be bunkering himself to the inside of security with a small bottom to
Back when I
top
wasn't a
angle
boomer, I
to
was a
see how
zoomer,
much
dude.
use more than likely
Zoomer man.
later on in the round. I don't think this will directly interfere with the big window taken anyway. I'm trying to remember like where that's positioned and what that'll get in the way of, but
It doesn't cover the big window.
If you and Penta came back together, would y'all be good? Nah. I mean, Jonas doesn't play the game anymore. Fabian and Goga and me are basically all retired. And Shatse is also retired, dude. Almost everyone from the OG Penta team is retired. KS is retired. Jonas, Goga, Fabian, me, Shatse. Only Shaz is left, right? Yeah, only Shaz is left. Everyone... I mean, Kento was like the 2.0 edition, but... The OG roster, no one's left. Jesus.
This round is just falling apart at the seams for Mirage.
Surprised at how static both defending teams are playing in Mirage and Oxygen. Not a whole lot of movement happening. Not a whole... Did we lose the casters' voices?
Oh, no.
Oh, they're back, they're back.
Also finding Nyx elsewhere too. So already Mirage down to
Nice.
2 players. Houghton somehow wasn't picked up as part of the intel game here though. So he gets a clean first pick.
50 seconds left. 2v4. A bit of a tough one to end out on here. Never mind, it's a 1v4. I don't know about this round, dude. Mirage got absolutely clapped apart, whether it's vertically or horizontally, and no gunfights went their way whatsoever. Nice. No player from Invite 2018 finals is playing anymore? Well, BC is a coach, Shaz is a coach, but no one's playing, right? Young, Necro, Canadian, BC. They're all gone. NVK. Shate, me, Jonas, Goga, Fabian. No one's actively playing. Fabian's looking for a team. Goga is looking for a team, but didn't get any offers, I don't think. So technically speaking, there's a chance that Goga and Fabian still come back. But Shati and me and Troy and all those guys are gone, and Shaz and BC are both coaches, of course. Somebody in chat asked, why do people retire? What kind of question is that? Oh, here's the Maverick thing? Ah. So in the Sonics Dark Zero game, they actually used the trick we just spoke about.
This will be interesting.
So this is what I just spoke about.
From Yeti if it works. And
You
it
can
looks
map
like
the
it
wall.
will.
Yeah. You see?
Grixer with the follow-up to make it happen as well.
Love to
Goodbye
see it, dude.
Mint.
We love to see it. That's exactly what I spoke about earlier. Yeah. The Panther Yeti point of view, though? Yeah. Hate that. Why do NA play so much deny not many info operators? The current meta game is just like that, to be honest. It's the same in Europe. A lot of your info comes from Bulletproofs or Mossy because you don't really play Valkyrie Echo a whole lot. Which you kind of should. I mean, some teams play Valkyrie, but most teams don't. I'm gonna just catch up to Riley real quick and see when she's available. All right, we're gonna play horror game in like 15-20 minutes. Let me just DM back to Dealy. All right, 15-20. We can go. We can go. Explain 20-second meta. It's gone now. Jisuk. 20-second meta is no longer a thing, but basically it was teams playing like Jaeger, Maestro, Melusi, Wamai, like Goyo. You know, bunch of shields, bunch of utility, and then the entire round would be the attackers trying to kill those shields, and then it would come down to like 20 seconds left, and then they would start planting or attacking or executing or whatever. So